I got two hands, I got my mouth, I know how to earn money.
Wow. Good morning, world. Good morning. Used to be a big bushy tree right there. Gone. Right away. We got somebody in here and a thumbs up. Right on, brothers and sisters and my brethrens. So we got is a very cloudy morning, and we've had this cold front moving through, and I'm kind of loving it. No sunlight this morning coming up. As usual, I'll wait till a few more people show up before I get into meat and bones of my morning menagerie. Well, welcome aboard anyway. I've been getting quite a bit of sleep these days. Hmm. Well, you know, I wasn't sure about Barry Lee Jordan's situation totally, but I'm beginning to get a better idea of what's actually going on. Well, which I thought in part was, but I was under the impression that, well, he was getting this subsidiary, and he still is, punishment for non-payment of. Oh my God! I mean, there's so many things now because he's never filed any motions. They're going to keep him in there longer because he hasn't filed any motions for release or anything like that. He hasn't apparently hasn't paid his penalties and well. I mean, his immigration overstay fines and penalties, and not even paying the court and me what was bestowed upon him in a legal court setting. Apparently hasn't paid anything. Anything. So there I was thinking that he'd be on his way home soon. I was pretty sure of it. And I didn't mind really, because I know what he's facing when he gets back to America. But what I didn't know was that, well, the rule was that if he's getting this subsidiary type of punishment, for not paying what he was ordered to pay for the courts and so forth, that they could only keep you in there 6 months for such, even though he has a summary deportation order. That is under that impression. But apparently, it's up to the immigration's discretion what they want to do. But apparently, from what I learned this morning, actually, is that they're not going to budge. Apparently, immigration's not going to budge until he gets his affairs in order. And apparently, family, friends, I don't know, the high roaders, all that, they realize he owes a lot of money. And he doesn't want to, well, he's not in a position to pay it. And the high roaders don't want to help him out. So called friends, even his, I don't know, even his girlfriend. Oh, hello, Al. Good morning to you. Haven't heard you for a while. There's a real chance, as I stated many times, that he will never see America again. He might die. Al, I was just, because I do try to get more information as time goes by as to what's happening with people. I don't always get my information right. Like I thought Slim, pro-life traveler, has already been deported, so much as I know, right? I was assuming that. But no, he's still there. Probably met Barry. But my information seeking has said there's a lot of elements. I mean, he has made no efforts to file any motions. I mean, he was actually destitute. Motions of different types to get out of there. Nothing. I mean, he has literally done nothing to speed up his release. And I was assuming that, and I always talk about what they call the subsidiary punishment, is when a court says, look, you're going to pay X amount of money to the court, and you're going to pay X amount of money to the complainant, and all that, right? Okay, so I thought that under this Philippines ruling, that they can't keep you in there more than 6 months in regards to his non-payment and cooperation with the court. But apparently, for what I'm reading, is that the current information is that, well, they could, they said indefinitely. That was the word, indefinitely. He could remain in there indefinitely. And that's like fucking scary shit, isn't it? Well, look, I mean, okay. I'm not saying that it's fair for trying to keep somebody in there indefinitely. And there's a lot of people besides Barry that are. I mean, there are cases going back to the drug war days with, you know, Duterte, where people are still on the roster there waiting for trial or whatever. Man, I'm saying that is cruel. I'm not saying that he don't deserve it, but um, I mean, a bum off the street, he's pretty much close to that. How are they supposed to defend themselves? How are they supposed to get or hire or retain a lawyer through the whole process if they don't have any funds or anything to do it? So that could really put you in a precarious, situation. So, yeah, for the more current information I have on him, I think he is in Big itself. And I think that's where Slim is. Or maybe they'll get to know each other, become best friendsies. What's that? That's correct. He did nothing. He has no legal representation, nothing, and his so-called friends can't do anything about it. Losers hang with losers. Let me, whoops. Let me finish reading. Sorry, I lost my. Uh, why isn't this scrolling up a little bit? So-called friends can't do anything. Losers, and they all lose, and all the time. It is fair here. This is not America or Europe. That it's not. That it's not. Well, you can understand how I'm going to fight something out. You know that, right? Yeah. Um. Yeah, he's pretty fucked up, and now he's even more fucked up because of what happened with the Russian of using his phone. They had to do a complete search of the facilities and take away any phones that people have, and probably removing any phone privileges that they might have had. And Vitali, really screwed that up. And as such, it puts Barry in a worse situation. I don't think you're going to be seeing many comments from him on some people's shows that he's known to sneak in a few comments in there every now and again. No, it's not cruel, it's the Philippines. Well, I totally understand this is not America. In America you have a chance, but um, wow. Barry really bit off more than he can chew. Oh my God, no doubt about that. Well, he must be fucking miserable, and that's okay with me. You see a lot of people, not a lot, but you have a few high roaders out there who think that he served his proper time and he should have been released already. Well, I disagree. As I said, unless you were in my shoes and my position, what I've gone through financially and every other fucking way, that to me, as far as I'm concerned, it ain't enough time for him. You can only understand if the things he did happened to you. Otherwise, he's just not going to get it. And not only was he in there through the Christmas and New Year, but he's still there and counting. And here's the thing, you know, his girlfriend did what she did to, you know, pretty much help him get even with me. But look how it turned out. Okay, look how it turned out. Didn't turn out well. His own girlfriend, the one that was being highly supportive of him by filing a complaint on me, she didn't get what she wanted, did she? In regards to no matter what she's trying to do to get even with me, he still remains there. And there was no chance. All this for what? For nothing. Just to get even. And he still remains in jail after all this, even after she filed a complaint. He's still in jail. What did she accomplish? Nothing. She accomplished absolutely nothing. And yet she will also possibly face charges herself. What good is what she did? How did she ever help him or his family, high roaders, or anybody? Okay, I have to read the comments. Vitality does not understand that you cannot name and shame the prison system in the Philippines. They simply do not care at all. Hallow says, it's okay for the guards to take advantage of the prisoners, especially if they have money. Western morals do not apply, and that's good. Yeah. So what did she accomplish? She didn't accomplish shit. Let's call a spade a spade. She didn't accomplish shit to get even with me because her boyfriend is in fucking jail. But where did it lead her? It's just, a situation that he's not going to get out for a long time. And even if he does, he's going to be permanently blacklisted unless she could find a way to come to America to be with him, which she's not. And he's not going to be able to come back. I mean, what good was all this? When you really add things up, what good is what she did? Excuse me, except for personal satisfaction to have me hanging in the system, right? That's about it. So she didn't accomplish shit, did she? And she could be facing charges herself that stem, once the smoke clears, perjury and aiding and abetting and harboring Barry. So how does this potentially work out for her from that fucking complaint? It doesn't. There's my famous 13 in here. What's your analysis on this, Hallow? I mean, has it worked out for her so far? And after all she's doing, I mean, she can possibly face some serious consequences as a result of a phony baloney bullshit, worm-infested fucking complaint that has so many holes in it that Swiss cheese don't measure up. Did you know that yesterday? I know they did the other day. Did you know they raided the jail yesterday because of what Vitali did? Immigration came out with a statement about it. Well, I know they raided the place, but I thought that was not yesterday. I thought it was prior to that. I don't know, maybe there's some more current information you're aware of that I'm not, but so Vitali made it worse for everybody. He made it worse for everybody. Well, we know Vitali ain't coming back here, that's for damn sure. And now Barry is in a worse situation because he can't, even if he had money to confer with his lawyer or anybody, he can't even do that. And let me ask you another thing too: is he allowed visitation there from his girlfriend or anybody? I know they have some strict rules on that too. Um, that's a hard situation because if I tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie. If I was in a situation like that, I would like some periodical contact with my girlfriend. You know, so they taken all those rights away from him. He can't even talk. I don't know his girlfriend. I don't. To be honest with you, I don't follow her channel. I don't even know how to get there. You have to send me a link or something on email, Aloe, because she blocked me or something. And I don't even remember the title of her show anymore. And when I did try to punch it in when I had it, I couldn't get there. What has she been posting about these days? Is she still like, suffering PTSD? Has she been suffering PTSD? Maybe she is now for real. Even Barry posted something about it. Yes, he made it worse for everybody. I think I saw something on that. Obama says no visitors right now. Well, I don't know. Has he been getting any visitors? Does his quasi girlfriend, has she been visiting him all this time? I think from where she lives to where he's at is quite a distance to come, for one, isn't it? Geographically. And how often do they allow visitors? I understand it's supposed to be only family, and she's not family. So has she been able to visit at all? But I'm not sure what he says is true. I know he is an effing liar. Yeah, obviously so. Wow, man, he's pretty fucked up situation, man. Uh, well, like I said, I have no compassion for Barry, and I never will. I took this matter really seriously, or else I would not have gone the distance I did, Aloe. I think you know that. You know, I'm highly sad. I mean, my situation with Barry is completely over. Unless I want to file another charge on him for his death threats, that's still open. Not sure if he gets any visitors. He did not mention anything. Well, that's a real bad situation, even if you have nobody to visit you, even when allowed. I mean, that's being punished right there. Either the system is gonna break him down, or it's gonna make him more worse with his attitude. You know, the prison system can break you down, but it can make you more vindictive. It can make you more bitter and so forth. Yeah, so it sounds like he's in a more fucked situation than I thought he was in. I go by information I find out and stuff, but I don't know everything. Even my attorneys don't know everything either. You know, they don't know what living situations he's in. They don't know if he's been beat up, how many fights he's been in, if he had his ass. And one of the things, he has a lot of Chinese in there, and he hates the Chinese. Remember, he was saying publicly, that they're filthy animals and all this shit. Well, if they get a hold of that information, it's not going to make it good for him. And these Chinese, man, I don't know. I don't think I'd want to fuck with them in jail. Well, I wouldn't want to fuck with anybody in jail, but I'm reasonably sure he's probably had some incidents in there because the way he runs his mouth, I just can't see how he hasn't had some particular incidents in there. How could he not? I mean, this is Barry we're talking about, who can't stop running his mouth. Hopefully, somebody's knocking some sense into him. Okay, folks, this is a great example, and for the 14 people, whatever that are listening here, this is a great example of what you should not do here in the Philippines and what these people are going through, and what you find as entertainment on YouTube is knocking somebody, making allegations against somebody about knocking them, their family, and so forth, and putting these fucking phony reports in. It could only serve. It could only serve to put you in a bad situation that you never thought you would ever face. But I did a short the other day and I showed you my little memory sticks. And yes, I got a world of information on there. A world of hurt of information on all these louses on the skin of society that's in our YouTube buddies out there. The do no bad people out there. They have no idea. They talk about other people documenting, you know, other people on here, but I'm pretty much up on the list there on what I've managed to put together, even things on Messenger, or you name it, I've got it. Baby, she's got it. Okay. Barry knows he is not at home there. He is the kindest, nicest little boy in there. Even Barry knows better. I don't know how cooperative he is, but if I learned about Barry, that he gets upset and all, thrown apart and pulled apart and gets upset, and if he can't hold that in, if he can't learn to control his mouth, that he's in the wrong fucking place. He seemed to think he got away with it, but he didn't. Obviously on YouTube, that's why he's there in part, and you're not gonna get away with that shit in there. Not in there. No, you're not. God, he really fucked himself over. Note I said he fucked himself over. I want to get this clear to everybody at this, sound of my voice. Barry created that situation for himself, just like other people are. Their turn will come, perhaps. So don't do that. I don't care if you're 15,000 miles away, you know, and someone knows what I'm talking about, who they are. Anything could happen. Anything when you least expect it. Getting upset inside a filled prison is dangerous. Yeah, it is, because you may say something that you wish you never said to another cellmate that you have to live with. But I still think his accommodations are better than he's ever had when he was a free man in the Philippines. he wasn't he wasn't living in the Pink Palace in Honolulu, you know what I mean? He never had a decent accommodation. Man, he's fucked up, man. Hoo man. Hey, look, I mean, I wouldn't want this for any innocent that's serving time. I would never want this. Or for myself, for that fact. Absolutely not. Notice I said underline, innocent person. I would want that for anybody if you're innocent. But I'll even go further than that. Undesirable, less than tolerable. I don't know, man. I think certain people deserve certain shit, but I think certain people could be given a little better consideration and not being in there as long. But if you want to consider overall, outside of the charges on him, outside of the immigration fees he didn't pay and the court-ordered fees, if you think about the whole picture of Barry Jordan, it definitely is karma that took over, because It's not just what he said to me. It's not all that. It's not that he was hiding for 7 years, being protected by his girlfriend. It's not that. It's a broader picture, as everybody knows. It goes deeper than that, way deeper. It's everything he's done to people in the Philippines. Everything caught up with him. So yes, I did do people a favor, didn't I? I most certainly did. But it's a thankless thing. It's an absolutely thankless thing. You know, I've actually helped a lot of people out on here, yet I get attacked for it. That's kind of interesting in itself, isn't it? Barry is suffering. We know of sound bites where he even cried. He does not show that on the live streams he is suffering. I'd like to hear those. Vitaly is doing the Philippines a huge favor by exposing what's going on inside the jail. It will serve as a very strong warning. Yeah, I would say so. There's actually some good coming out of Vitaly if you really think about it, isn't there? Now Vitaly becomes not only the villain, but he becomes the hero in a sense, doesn't he? Imagine being a villain and a hero at the same time. Who would have thought? Some serious shit going on here. It's time for my teetotaling. Ah, yeah. As my sweetheart is alive. She's alive. You get some good rest, babe? All right, I pretty much did. So it goes to show, for all these people out there that are having all this fun, trying to mock and maim, and degrade other people on here, maybe a lesson is being learned. You think? And you would think, right? But not necessarily. They will try to get away anything they could possibly get away with on here. Oh, you can't deal with me because I'm so far away. You're never going to touch me. Nothing is ever going to happen. Right, Popeye? Speaking of the devil, they hear the clanging of his hoofs. You know what I mean? Even for you, Popeye, you think you get away with all this shit, do you? Maybe you could. Maybe. You might be right. But you know what, dude? You might be wrong too, brother. Well, something. Let's see. None of these live streamers out there in the fields is pulling pranks like Vitaly. Now, they know better. Allo says Philippines authorities have a tendency to escalate things, to respond to certain situations with a total overkill of measures. Apparently so. Apparently so. Damn. Well, Barry's in big ass trouble, man. But it's a thankless situation, really. I did a lot of people favors on here. These are the ones with the fucking low testosterone. These are people that like to dish it out, But what they do when Barry took their money, and all the big players on here who donated to Barry, when they gave him money for a specific purpose, and what? You gonna support Barry? And they don't think that Barry deserves what he's getting, like the high roller? I'll call it out. Big E and Mick Fish Sandwich. They both, on Team Barry, supposedly. They on Team Barry. But they're not. They never were. Or they had, they both got money. They both got money. If they believed that Barry should have been out a long time ago, then the good question is, why hasn't the high rollers and high roaders, how come they haven't helped Barry, Allo? Why did they not help him? Didn't Mick Fisher come and visit me the Mick Fish Sandwich? Didn't he come and visit me to try to get me to change my mind about Barry? Remember all that?
Remember all that? Well, if they believe in it so much, I mean, this is where they're all red-faced, right? You know the situation with that. McFish Sandwich came over to try to get me to, you know, lay down low on Barry a bit and get him out of there. Didn't work, McFish Sandwich. I held my place. And that's why that's why McFish is so against me, let's put it that way. Because I had no problem with McFish prior to that. But, McFish couldn't get his way. And he's pouting. He's pouting. Oh, well, Oh, well. Oh, well. It is what it is. Nice try, Mick, fish sandwich, but it didn't work. And that's why Mick is pissed off at me. That's why he's pissed off at me. If you people haven't been keeping up with that shit, that's exactly why he's pissed off at me. He had no reason to come down. What? Where's the tea? Did I run out of it already? The Lipton. Oh, you got it all in there. I didn't feel like having the heavy gun stuff here. Tea. And what do you think about McFish and Big E not helping Barry out, Aloe? What's behind this? I think, Barry owes everything upwards of $750,000 or more. And these guys with the deep pockets that they're so proud of, trying to shove in everybody's face, they could do nothing for him. I mean, shit. Big money is like lint in their pocket. I mean, the way they talk. If they really believed in Barry's cause or whatever, why isn't he not out? Why have they not helped him? Good question. Why? So they pretty much embarrassed themselves with what they did. The big fish sandwich and any other so-called supporters of Mr. Jordan. Embarrassing. The high roaders. The fucking high roaders. High roaders my ass. So as much as they were, there's all this bogus support they're supposed to have for Barry, yet he's still there. What have they done? They've done nothing for him. After all this, they still allow Barry to remain there and rot. Alice says nobody believes in Barry's cause. It's all about the hatred they have for you. That's quite obvious. In other words, yeah, they didn't want to help Barry because if they help Barry, it's kind of helping me because he owes me $250,000. Is that pretty much correct? Shit, $250,000 is lint in their pockets. Oh, that's lint money. That's the way they talk, and we're supposed to believe. But that, you know, I don't believe they're broke. No, I never would think McFish Sandwich or the big ego man is broke. No, I never thought that. Never even came to my mind that they were losers in a sense of financially, but in other aspects, that's a different thing. But no, I never thought that financially they were losers in that department. Alice says around a year ago, Barry said, "Oh, I have almost all of the money ready. I will be out next month." Yeah, that didn't work out well, did it? And then he said, maybe next week. Yeah, I heard that. Uh, 150-inch VAC. Let's hope that Shaw. Let's hope that Shaw gets punished for her lies. Well, that's bound to probably happen. Then, maybe in a few months, soon, friends, soon, very soon, he said, very soon. Like Trump. Oh, that's going to happen very soon, very soon. That was like 10 months ago. Well, in regards to, just keep low key on that one as far as Barry's girlfriend is concerned. I mean, that's going to be up to basically, what happens with this complaint with me and all that. Basically, I made and I want to quote this and underline it in neon lights. I made a suggestion. That's all it was. Not an intimidation, nothing like that. I made a suggestion publicly to her that she needs to come clean, needs to tell the truth. It would be advisable, I said, to go to my lawyer's office and sign an affidavit saying that she was wrong in her judgment about me. She could word it any way she wants, not to put any, pressure on her or by the law, and she could make this just disappear, poof, and she won't be facing any imminent or possible charges on her. And there's two different types too. I already know the codes and shit on this too. Yeah, it doesn't serve her purpose to continue with her lies with this statement, and because I don't think she has a lot of money, and I know that the High Roller Club will definitely, they're all pro females, so rather than males, so they'll do their best to finance her if a situation like that happened, you know. Well, Harvard aided and abetted, and I don't know if I posted it or not, but I will post what the charges are for that. And not to mention, if it's deemed that her statement was perjurous, add that to that. Holy fucking shit. She's gonna wish that she never fucking uttered my name. If she didn't have PTSD like she never did and claimed, then she's certainly probably gonna have it right now. Self inflicted. She did, technically, and by the law out here, she did harbor a criminal by her actions of having Barry stay at her place. Okay, I'm gonna do limited talk on her. I'm handling that my own way. So I'm not gonna put out too much information on here. Just know that, you know, my suggestion was a good suggestion in her case. I'm actually doing her a favor, really, when you think about it. As I said, and I still meant it. If she comes clean with this, then I'll guarantee in writing that there will be no charges of, everything from perjury to harboring and aiding and abetting a criminal. I think that's a good deal. I think that's a great suggestion, folks. Underline suggestion. Mick says, Frank, look at previous messages. You only read the latest. Okay, let me see. What am I missing here? I'm not missing anything on here. What are you referring to? Yeah, it says that she harbored a criminal. 1050 said that. What am I missing here? Let's hope that Shaw gets punished for her lies. I read that from you. I don't know. What am I missing? What did it say? So what did I miss? Maybe it was somebody that was blocked that I cannot see their messages on here. Maybe you were able to see it. So what? Who stated what? Do tell. Okay. write it again. Yeah, this is some serious shit going on here. They don't understand it. Or maybe they don't have the capacity to understand. We've done something, sometimes there's a point of no return. You know, it's out. So let's see what the comment was and who was it from. I'd like to know too. But no, nothing appeared on here that I could see as I scroll. Maybe I'll have to scroll again. Let me go look. Maybe I'm not catching it. I only have Aloe to Winter, a few people talking on here, so what did I miss? Well, I'll wait till you put your... I'm not seeing anything. And who is the author? All that. Sometimes it's just really not worth trolls' efforts to do things because they always have that attitude that, nothing had happened to me, but it does happen. Look at Jay. He's not in good position right now. They're aware of Jay now. Do you notice I haven't seen anything, unless you've seen something, I haven't seen any recent posts by Jay, have you? I don't think I've seen it. I might have missed something, but Jay knows he's in trouble, but but he knows it's better to stay out of the Philippines. He knows at this point it could be dangerous for him to stay here. See what I mean? Everything you do comes back at you, man. Like you spit in the wind, man. You know what happens? It comes right back in your fucking face. Until they understand that concept. I'm still waiting for you to write this thing down. But I'll move on. Pardon me. Jay is looking for Damien. Oh, yeah. Have you been blocking anything, Aloe? I don't think so. Okay, well, next you verbally remember what was on the statement. Apparently you've seen it, so just tell us what you've seen on here. Just verbalize it. Yeah, I know you don't like Jay, Aloe. Not a lot of people do. Well, Mix, we've wasted how much time here. You made a statement that you've seen something on here that maybe I didn't see and that it was removed, but obviously you read it, so you must know what they or that person said. Says I would see that. Nick says, it's my message. I'm saying, where is the big ego now? He couldn't even come up with a morsel of his wealth. No, you said that somebody posted something that I didn't see. Now you're telling me it was a statement that you made. Where's the big ego now? He couldn't even come up with a morsel of his wealth to help Barry. Is that what you're talking about? I thought you were implying that somebody made a statement on here that was removed. I thought there was something juicy that I missed. Okay, I thought there was some kind of interesting comment that somebody made about a situation that I didn't see, and you told me to scroll up and look. So we spent 10 minutes on there just for that. This is what I wrote. Both messages were blocked. Well, there's nobody has the ability to block anything on here except for Al the Winter. He's my only wrench. I know, believe it or not, but yes, he is. Allo knows who to block. Why would YouTube remove it? That statement does not qualify as a removal from YouTube. Nothing you just said on there is no. Okay, let's move on. Okay, give me about 2 minutes, will you? Okay, sorry about that. Nature called. I had to answer. So, let's see. Alice says, actually, earlier I said something about Shaw, and it was blocked too. YouTube does that. Really? No shit. I haven't experienced that. Mix has always said that if you were in the trenches, the big shot of Cebu, now of Da Nang, would let you down with a fall. People like him have zero integrity or credibility. Well, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. It's just that people don't learn by what they've actually experienced here on YouTube, and people are going down all the time. You gotta, don't forget something. I'm familiar with the capabilities of the cybercrime people because they got funding, whether you were aware of it or not, to give them a little more experience on how to, the new technology they've introduced. They already had the funding about a year ago. People don't understand this, that they're actually teaching their officers how to decipher, in other words, IRLs, URLs, all that shit on there. Who people are that come up with these phony accounts and all this shit, and they've come a long way since years ago. I mean, I know somebody personally in the District 7 cybercrime unit, obviously so. So I know this information. Actions speak louder than words, Mick says. Yeah, historically, yes. But, in a case like, Barry, um, people should be more appreciative of what I've done because I've helped them out. And a lot of people have had bad experiences with Barry. They were donating to his channel for a specific purpose in the past. He was going to use it for food. He was going to use it for his counsel. He was going to use it for this and that. And he pissed everybody off, even the Big E, all these people. He pissed them off. The very people that he wanted to help him, they gave in to him numerous times. And then what did he do? He threw shit in their faces. That's what he did. And they want him out of jail? No, they don't. The only reason they're not helping Barry is, well, it's just two reasons. Because they know he's a piece of shit. They know he deserves to be in there. But because of the fact that Barry owes me 250,000 pesos, which should be lint in these high roaders' pockets, that's one of the reasons not helping Barry. But it's not the only reason, because they know internally everything that Barry did. It was all a facade saying, well, Barry should be released early and all this crap. That was a bunch of bullshit coming out of their mouths. I've heard it from Big E and I heard it from Big Fish Sandwich. I've heard it. Okay? They know what he did. They're very aware. They're very well aware what he did to a lot of people and a lot of women. They're very well aware of it. Because I'm involved in this. That's the denominator of all this. They don't want to help me because they figure if they pay off all his fees and fines and everything that's required to get him back, to his country, they figure that, oh shit, that means I got to throw Frank some money. Well, it's you either believe in Barry's cause or you don't. You believe that Barry is innocent or deserves to be out of jail, or you don't. Remove me from the equation. As I said, they have more money, 250,000 as for the payment supposed to be to me, should be lint in their pockets. They could get over that. If they really believe Barry should be free, then 250,000 pesos should be shit. It should be shit to them. Not even noticeable. Mick says, and I'm just reading this. Remember, folks, I'm just reading this. I'm just a messenger. It's my belief, Mick says, that Big E only interest in Barry was to get his girlfriend into the harem. He's a messed up individual. Okay, just reading off. This harem situation's ridiculous. A grown-ass man, I don't know, man. Oh my. It always gets better and better, doesn't it? I think if anything, they've embarrassed themselves. They did a great job of it. See, they don't always get their way. They don't always get what they want. Even a certain individual's own spouse turned against him at one point. and got a lot of money, a lot of the money. Did he learn from that? Well, that's why he moved out of the Philippines to go to Vietnam. Vietnam, 1, 2, 3. What is he fighting for? He doesn't want to get in that situation again. This way I'll go to Vietnam. What are we fighting for? It's funny how these things turn out. And these people make such an embarrassment to themselves. They always wind up letting loose on something like a Facebook thing we heard on Facebook, and you know who I'm talking about, the shoe fits, wear it type of situation, where his significant other was, or one of them, was actually turning on him, and he was upset. He was mad as a hornet, mad as a hornet, and says some very unkind words about her too. But now everything is rosy. Everything is beautiful in a way. Now that she's happy, we can go on a life and be gay. Everything is amicable in its own way. Just satisfy the woman, and you're gonna have a beautiful day. Right? Am I right or wrong? Oh, man. Popeye, are you simulcasting me this morning? Do tell. Is he simulcasting me, anybody? Or have I destroyed Popeye lately to the point of embarrassment again, where he just disappears for a while? The expose on Popeye. I got more too, by the way, on him, but we'll save that for a rainy day. Is it raining outside? No. Harem shit. What's this harem shit? Fucking grow up. Fucking harem shit. Procol harem. I mean, come on. Harem. What is this, fucking back in the hippie days, and communes and all this shit? And, well, nothing against that, really, actually, but the concept that didn't work out too well even back then. There's always problems within. Everybody decided to go to San Francisco and gather, but what happened after that, the flower movement? I'm not knocking it. I mean, for peace and love and all that shit. I was one of the people who believed in that, but, they all wound up in Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco, and that turned out to be a disaster. They were broke. Mommy and Daddy didn't give them any more money. They had to go home. It was a horrible scene. They got so drugged out. So drugged out in the streets of San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury. They became a nuisance even to the store owners. They were laying out there, jonesing for drugs, and it was supposed to be a love festival. Turned out to be a drug disaster. Really, I'm a little bit embarrassed about that. I wasn't part of that, but I was all for love and peace and all that shit. But there's limits to all that. It just turned out really bad on them, like it does for YouTubers. They were all over the streets of Haight-Ashbury, and it didn't turn out a free love festival and all that. They were spreading disease. They were just drugged out. They were, they had a monkey on their back. They weren't even eating right. I mean, they all gathered there, but where did they think the money was going to come from to live and eat and put the flowers in her hair? I love the flower girl, and I liked that song too. And it was cool, the flower girl. Just this whole image of love and peace and all that. It was great. Can that really be achieved, though, in real life? It doesn't seem that way, not these days, especially these days. But it was a good concept, though. Peace, flowers, put a flower in her hair, the flower girl and all that stuff. It was great. But the concept didn't work, really. Let's see, I would love to know what Barry looks like. Yeah, so would I. Because the last time we saw him is when Berevis came over there and gave Barry, he was so proud, I thought he was going to have an orgasm or something, when Berevis gave him the MAGA hat. Oh boy, Barry was like, he was in his glory. He was in his glory. And he was fatter than shit, man. I had to do a double This is not AI, is it? No, it wasn't AI. That guy filled up like a fucking Goodyear blimp. But nowadays, it's kind of hard to tell because two things could happen. One being that if he's not exercising in any way, he could gain weight from that. If he's ordering out, I want to know where is he getting the money? Where is a good question? Let's address it real quick. If he's ordering out, where is he getting the money for ordering out? Is he still possibly getting Social Security benefits while you're in jail? You're not supposed to. So please clarify that for me. Help me out a little bit here to make me understand. Where is he getting money? Is Brevis saying, Brevis is a cheap ass. He came in here with a ding of vegetables once. He gave in once and got him some brisket, just, for the audience sake. Brevis, he wants to be Mr., get attention. He did that for the audience, but he would never even, maybe that one time he did that, but otherwise he used to come in with a little baggie of a fucking couple of vegetables, which Barry probably doesn't even eat. I'm not seeing the comments here, so I should read them before I go on. Let's see. John Smithson here. Okay, yeah, I would like to know what Barry looks like. John Smith is greeting Aloe. Good eye, mate. Hey, that sounded pretty good, didn't I? In it? Good eye, mate. Today is Australia Day. Happy day. Okay. Mick says, I'm just stating fact, Frank. It's normal to involve his kids in this harem. Oh, that it's normal to involve his kids in this harem setup and no schooling. It's not right, and I'd say it to his face. Well, I agree with you on that. I'm not going to elaborate on it for legal purposes, but I agree with you on that. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I agree with you on that. I do. Mama-san, and that is actually, Mama-san says that Mick's foreigner said that he lied to immigration who the true Filipinos' relationship to him was. I guess he would probably have to. They'd have to make their way separately into the country, and I don't know how that works. So he lied to immigration who the true Filipinos' relationship with him was. Yeah, he would probably have to, I would think. Mr. Goodley, right? Mr. Do No Wrong, right? John Smith says, Brevis did bring him 2 bananas, 2 packets of Sky Flakes. Yeah, I remember that. No, but he did come in one time, I think, with beef brisket or something, just to show off on camera. Aloe's giving greetings to John Smith. Good eye. And Mick says, I wouldn't dispute that, Mama-san. Mr. Uranus. Good eye, Frank. Today's Australia Day, Cobber. That's what I was just told. Oh boy, Jay must be buying some extra booze today. It's Australia Day. He needs no excuse to drink, put it that way. Australia Day to drink. He drinks every fucking day. Clockwork. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just never got into this street drugs or alcohol or something like that. Prescription, yes, but as needed. But, there's a limit. And I just couldn't see myself, I don't know, especially alcohol. I just, knowing what it does, even one drink, even one lousy drink, what I learned, what the fuck it does to your liver. I mean, look at Jimbo out there. I was watching this show. It had to do with, who was it? It was a pro, bodybuilder. And there's 2 of them, I seem like that, pro bodybuilders. And they died because of their steroid usage and stuff. And when they autopsied them, they looked like they were looking at the body of a 100-year-old. Their organs were all the organs. All, not 1, not 2, but all the organs were like he should have been dead already prior. The liver was in pieces. They touched the liver. It was actually falling up. I'm not making this up. They touched the liver and it was actually falling apart. And imagine drinking every day like these people do. Imagine what their liver is like. Oh, I'm still alive. Just being held together with some kind of miracle glue. From what I read and seen and heard and, you know, oh man. I mean, look, do what you want, you know. I'm not your daddy. And as I said, I'm not totally innocent of that. I mean, I do smoke. I'm having a cigarette right now. I always mention that because I feel I need to. I don't really need to, but it's a known fact. Yeah, I do smoke. But I don't drink. I don't do street drugs. And I eat very healthy. I'd say 85% of my diet is probably extraordinarily healthy compared to the average Joe. Let's see, John Smith. John Smith, yeah, I guess I'm missing comments here. Mr. Raines. Okay. John Smith, we have to look with clear mind and what's happening to Big Ego's kids is criminal, in my opinion. I'm just reading the comments. Is lying to the immigration mean blacklist and deport? Well, you're not going to get deported if you're a Filipina. But yeah, if you're lying to immigration, yeah, well, they find out that you're lying. That's why he's afraid to return to Philippines, Mama San. We got a good show going here this morning. I didn't expect it. There's going to be no dialogue, and I was just going to get off as usual. John Smith says to me, and I'm reading comments, to me, Big Ego is a wanker. I like that word. Well, you know, he's not my favorite person for obvious reasons. He's never been pro-Frank. He'd say things, I don't hate Frank. Well, let me try this one. Oh, I don't hate Frank. You know, he hates my fucking guts. I mean, he doesn't hate me. He's wanted to listen to the biggest antagonist on here. Me, you know. I love the flower girl. And boy, the things I've learned lately, there's a certain female out there who, oh my God, from the information I have gathered in the past week alone, let's just say that, well, how much is the high roaders willing to help this woman, just for the fact that she's female, of course, you know, got to come to her rescue, the damsel in distress, right? Isn't that his MO? The damsels in distress? Wrong? Am I wrong? You know I'm not wrong. Got to come to the rescue for the damsels, not the guys, but the damsels, right? This is fucking pathetic. Fucking pathetic. John Smith says, I'm an Aussie, so I don't mind to have a beer or two, but only drink when there is a party. Yeah, even so, I mean, the immediate effect of I'm not going to get into a big spiel with this. You know, I might know a little bit more than you on this. But even one drink really does something very destructive. Having a few beers here and there, you're okay. You're good, buddy. You're good. But, you know, when you start drinking the heavy stuff, even regular beer, I mean, yeah, over time, that will destroy your liver. There's no question about that. If you've been drinking beer your life, oh, it's only beer, it's not hard liquor. You're fooling yourself. And I'm not going to go into a whole fucking soliloquy, as Popeye hates to hear that word, over this. But look, I know what I know. That's all I'll tell you, okay? And I'll leave it at that. But liquor does not touch my lips. That's my drink of choice right here, what you're looking at. Tea, different herbs in it. That's my elixir. And if anything is healthy, it's not going to affect my liver. In fact, it's going to say hello and pat my liver on its back and make my liver kidneys feel real good. Fuck liquor, man. I part with liquor. Yeah, it's bad stuff, no matter how you look at it. But, it's one of those things, to each his own. Pick your poison. I have one poison, and it's poison. Trust me, it's poison. I never leave myself out of the equations. One thing, if you've been listening to my show, it's not like I'm putting the accusative finger on people. Oh, you're doing this bad for your health, and you're doing this, and you're doing that bad for your health, right? So it makes me sound like a hypocrite, right? Yes and no. Because I'm aware of the fact that I do have one bad thing that I do. I do understand it can be very damaging to me in time. Absolutely. I'll be the first to say that. Okay, but it is, as well, it is an addiction. Let's face it. There's chemicals in there. Chemicals that the companies have quadrupled the addictive to get children hooked on cigarettes for their industry. But my point I've always been making on here, I'm doing a bad, and you might call me a hypocrite, and I'll accept that to a point. I will accept that. But the different things I'm doing is different what a lot of people are doing. I'm at least trying to create a balance of such by keeping my cell structure strong and my immune system strong to fight off the effects of environmental poisons, of self-inflicted poisons such as cigarettes and so forth. I have a diet and I have supplements that basically work to keep your cell structure strong, to fight off what you call free radicals that are in your body, everybody's body, whether or not you smoke or not. Just by breathing the air in this country, any country, you're breathing in so many fucking poisons. And if you think, and I'm not an advocate, I'm not trying to, give excuse, none at all, none. But just by breathing the very air that you're breathing in, your lungs are not, pink. Okay, I don't want to get too graphic. I know what lungs look like, but just your daily environmental intake of the oxygen and all the shit, all the free radicals you're putting in your body, just from breathing. How many people get lung cancer? They never smoked a day in their life. It's environmental poisons, and you're not going to fight that. There's no way they're going to clean up our atmosphere. There's no way that all these organizations and governmental organizations are doing anything to really help it. They're going to continue with the fossil fuel as something they're going to have until the world falls apart. Fossil fuel usage, they're fighting over it. They're fighting over who has more oil because we're going to use it until kingdom come. And that fact, as long as they're using fossil fuels, your lungs are not exactly what they're meant to be. If we had a society where we didn't have all this industry and you're not breathing in all these chemicals, besides anything else you might add to it, like cigarettes, cigars, vaping, all that shit, your lungs are not exactly pink. I hate to tell you that. Just for some information purposes. Okay, I'm missing statements here because I'm looking in a different direction, not looking at my... Okay, Mick says you couldn't trust him, John Smith, talking about Big E. John Smith says, I'm in Austin, I don't mind to have a big... Okay, we got that. John Smith says, good old pro-life traveler, giving kids trying to vape. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Good morning, Ed Savino, you're coming in late, you missed a lot. Smoking kills, I've never touched a cigarette. You don't have to touch a cigarette, Ed Savino. I think you're missing a lot of my show here, or the most current comments I made. Whether you smoke or not, your lungs are not pink. You have so many free radicals in you just by breathing the air in our environment. You're exposed to industrial vapors. You're exposed to all the petro vapors, carbon dioxide, all this crap every single day. You might as well put your fucking mouth on an exhaust pipe of the nearest fucking jeepney, is what I'm trying to say to you. Nobody's lungs are perfect, smoker or non-smoker. And I'm not advocating smoking. Believe me, I'm not. I regret the day I ever picked up one of these fucking pieces of shit. Believe me, I do. I worry. I do worry. Certainly I do. I'm not mechanical. I'm not a robot. I'm made of flesh and blood. I'm very aware. Okay, now that I got that out of my system. Well, you don't have to smoke to get killed with lung cancer. You don't have to smoke to have lung cancer. You could have small cell carcinoma. I mean, have nothing to do with smoking. I mean, people are dying every day. But we're not getting into a fucking medical show here, so let's kind of keep back on topic, where we were. Yeah, I know what I do wrong, and I'll admit to my wrongs. I mean, whether it's smoking or something I've ever said on YouTube or whatever. If I'm wrong about something, I'm wrong. I even gave an apology. A lot of people don't even know that or see that. Popeye put a strike on me recently, and the strike was because I had put a picture of his parents on there. Okay. And I was decent enough of a person to admit I was wrong, that I deserved that strike because we shouldn't be putting pictures of people's family on here. I admitted it wrong, and I actually gave, believe it or not, I actually gave an apology to Popeye on here. Are you on Popeye now, simulcasting me? Okay. I actually gave a public apology to Popeye for putting his parents on it. I was trying to make a point. It was actually a good video. And if anything, I was actually, hailing his parents for, they looked like good people, looked like a great couple, his parents. They probably worked really hard to make a life for Popeye, and Popeye just, went against everything and became a fucking, you know, Navy hero in his mind and didn't accomplish shit and didn't maintain the house. Look at the pictures of the house. He hasn't maintained his fucking house. He got the fucking house on a goddamn quitclaim deed. Piece of shit. He basically threw his father under his mother anyway, she survived at the time, under the fucking bus. All right, we'll end on that, just to get that out. That's right, I'm a decent enough person that you heard from me a public apology, and I said that I deserved to strike. Did you hear me again? I'll say it again. So if you're not listening carefully, if you don't believe I have some sense of righteousness, I have some sense of taking responsibility for something, I apologize to the person I despise the most on here, or up on the list, to Popeye himself, saying, I apologize for putting your parents on my thumbnail. And I'll say no more from this point. Okay, I did that. Okay? Not many people would do that. Not many people would do that. I did that. Because I said, I know when I'm wrong about something, but I certainly know when I'm right. John Smith says, but Popeye can put all the photos of you and your family. Yes, that's my point. Doublechin says, nearly a quarter of Filipinos aged 15 and older smoke tobacco. It's mostly the men. You don't see many women. The only women that tend to smoke tend to be a lot of them that are pros. They're prostitutes and bar girls and shit like that. And they're the ones that also have the tattoos and shit. Yeah, mostly that's what you see. I've seen some Filipinos smoke that were not bar girls and shit. Very rare though, but I've seen them. Doublechin says lung is the second most common malignancy and a leading cause of cancer related to mortality in the Philippines. No, it's diabetes and heart disease. It's not that. I think you're wrong. John Smith, Frank, I haven't seen the photos of Popeye's house. I don't know if I still have that up there, but I might have took it off. Popeye's in hiding. Is he not doing a simulcast to me right now? See, I came up with a little expose on him recently. And when you present facts to Popeye, he doesn't know what to answer to that. Popeye, like when somebody's threatening to go visit him and shit, he'll go offline for 6 months. It's all if you wanted proof that this guy is a coward, I've given you enough information. Not only have I given you enough information about this guy, but he has historically in the past gone into hiding. Whenever somebody got the best of him or told the truth about him, he didn't know what to say. But meanwhile, he's probably, spending his time putting a little skit together. That's what he does. It's pathetic. It's pathetic what this guy does. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. What a fucking loser, man. Fuck. All his time devoted to me. It shows he ain't got nothing going on in his life. Look, I totally understand why he's so bitter. I tell you what, I've had my times without women. I have certainly had my moments. Oh my God, I've had plenty of them. And it wasn't a good feeling. I felt alone. I felt, you know, it was a horrible feeling. Loneliness is, I've gone through loneliness. Believe me, I have. I don't care how many women that I quoted, as an approximation, of course, that I've actually dated. It's quite a bit. But does that mean that I was gratified the next morning? Does that mean that, it wasn't even a notch on my belt? I was seriously looking for a good relationship. That's the difference between me and these people. I wasn't necessarily out there. I was sowing my oats sometimes, but I was looking for an ideal woman. I did not want to be lonely anymore. I had all my lonely moments. I got more than I ever could dream of lonely moments out there, and I didn't like it. I was always trying to seek, Mrs. Goodbar. I've been always trying to seek a good person, whether an American woman or whatever. I mean, I know what loneliness is. I never liked it. I never liked it at all, and I can't imagine his situation. So what happens if you win the case against Hunchback Girlfriend? Do you have to pay back your visas? There's some. There's actually more than likely I still have to pay my visas, but the penalties, that's up in question. They may actually relieve me of the penalties under the circumstances. Yeah. No, I think I'm always going to be. It's not going to be, no matter what, a lot of money. What you normally pay per month for your visas times how many months that you haven't paid. And of course, administrative, as everybody knows on here, it's not like Barry where I was holding back, it's all administrative. No, to come to a point that they'll make you probably just pay the normal visa and you have to do your ECC and all that stuff, that's what it really comes down to. I don't think they're going to penalize me on that if I come out on top. Yeah. Yeah. The best way I could answer your question is what I've read and what I believe in. But then again, they could do what they want. So don't mind what I say because not always things happen the way you think it's going to happen. But basically, I think that's what would actually happen. 26 in the house. Greetings, everyone. 6 thumbs up. You can do better than that, folks. You don't want to affect my algorithms, do you? Come on. You wouldn't want to do that to me, would you? 27. Oh, it's getting better and better. Welcome aboard my machine. So he's not simulcasting me this morning. He hasn't been, hasn't he? Did I hurt your feelings, Robert? Did I hurt your feelings? I'm sorry if I did. I didn't mean to. See what a coward he is? I've proven it so many times what a coward this guy is. It's not worth repeating anymore. I think I proved my point. I think I proved it very well. But of course, he'll come up with a skit now. That's what he does. When he doesn't have anything verbal to say on his so-called soliloquies after he, is doing my simulcast, he's very famous for doing his little piece there, where he just knocks me and turns everything around I said and everything. And everybody listens. They listen to me. They know whether I said something or not because they heard it. That's why they're laughing at him. They're not laughing with him. They're laughing at him because they know what I said. They listen to me. And if he's giving a bullshit lie about something, they just laugh and say, yeah, we knew Popeye was going to say that. Even though Popeye was proven wrong or something, What do you expect? They're not supporting Popeye. They just want the entertainment, That's all it is. Let's go listen to Popeye mouthing off his Frank again. Let's witness his obsession. What do they get out of doing replay on your show? I don't know. Or they're hoping that they catch me in saying something they could use against me. Or, a lot of times I'm leaving my shows on. They don't even need to record me. It's, I know what I said if I do a show. And people already heard what I said on my show. Why do they need to replay it? That's a good question. Because they could. That's the only thing I can say is because they could. And they think they're throwing a jab at me or something when you're not. I either said something or I didn't on my show. They're trying to catch me in some kind of a statement they could use against me or something. Because they don't want to miss anything. Because, what if Frank did say something? Well, let's replay because this way, he can't take off. He can't take off that because we already recorded you. I don't know. It's infantile. I don't know what they get out of doing it. I think it's mostly the captions they use. They're trying to throw digs at me, showing my girlfriend like being some bar whore or something, doing some AI of her on a bar platform or something with some John or some shit like that, or you know, doing some little editing as far as what she's looked like or her attire or something like that. Well, you know, everybody knows out there what she's all about, and they know she's nothing like that. So just take it with a grain of salt and just look at it as what it is. It's just somebody trying to insult somebody to get a reaction. That's all it is. And they're not getting much reaction from me. I'm used to them putting that shit on. They're not accomplishing a goddamn thing when you think about it. Not a goddamn thing. It is very childish, John Smith says. Yeah, it is. 28 strong now. Build it, and they shall come. What, Guild? You want to say something, say it. You're more than welcome. Do you have a message for these people you'd like to say? Don't get her going. Mick says, Frank, you should have no fear of, I don't, a big ego. He won't be coming back to PI anytime soon to support this upcoming case. Well, he's not living here. And he's not a Filipino, but you don't have to be Filipino, but I'm just saying he's got things to worry about. He's not going to come back to Philippines to live, that's for sure. John Smith says, Frank, with them showing Gilda as she is dancing, isn't that of course it is. Of course it is. And the funny thing is, you know, there comes a time when you can find out who these people are. Who's to say that I'm not... Who's to say that I'm not working on that? Remember, I know somebody that actually works in cybercrime, and they've come a long way. Is it possible that I'm doing something with this? It's not impossible. There's ways of finding out. If you really want to put your energy and effort in, there's ways of finding out. That there's always what they call the big reveal. It's something that they don't expect, you know. It's a big reveal. And they could process that. Oh, yes, they could. The big reveal. I think they have some level of concern. I would say that the Copycat channel has some level of concern because, you know, they think it's like a done deal, which is nonsense. Nothing is a done deal. Nothing is a done deal. There are ways of making you talk, you know. Show me your passport. Show me your papers. A lot of these people think they could get away with shit, but did Barry get away with it? He's a prime example. I'm sorry to keep on using him, but he's a prime example on here. He didn't get away with shit. In fact, he made the situation worse. Remember when he kept on coming on, even though he had the charges on him? And he kept on coming on YouTube, doing the same shit that got him into trouble? I mean, when do you learn? And maybe some people are just incapable of learning from their mistakes, but Barry Jordan does not have the capacity to learn, to understand, you know, right from wrong. And, you know, his continuation at the time of just, and he was still doing it when he was able to use his phone. He'd come on somebody's show, whether it was Big Kevin or somebody, and he'd always implant some comments on there. He still didn't stop. He still didn't stop. He's incapable. He's incapable. Where's all the brooms, man? In front of where? In the back, you mean? No, I was just going to do a little bit of sweeping. I could wait on that. Well, it's unfortunate. The only way you're going to really learn is to actually have something happen to you and all that. Okay, I'm going to ask everybody a question, straight up. And a lot of you have been listening to me for, oh my God, a long time. The question is, do you feel that this complaint against me was warranted? Do you feel this was a revengeful situation that was coerced by some of the high rollers and people behind the scene? Do you think what she did was right? Because I think you people know me better. You can make your own personal judgments on a character I have or lack of character. Be honest with me. How do you feel about this complaint? And what do you think should happen to her? It was revenge, it says. All right, I want to hear from you all of you. Don't be afraid to come on here. It's my understanding Philippines is a very precarious place now for the big man, okay? Mama San says, can Copycat Channel be extradited if in another country like that? I'm not really sure. But I really want to know an honest opinion. I think I know what I'm going to hear. Do you think that what she did to me was right? Do you believe anything that she said? How well do you know me after listening to me all these years? Do I qualify for these charges? Do I qualify? Have you ever heard me say the things that she claimed? And you all probably seen the affidavit too that they illegally put on here. Aloe says, of course, revenge. Do you people honestly believe that I'm a bad seed on YouTube? Honestly. I'm talking about those people that have followed me for a long time. Did I do anything that bad that required me to be deported? Do you honestly think that I am a, quote, undesirable person in this country? And be honest, I'm not going to jump on you. I'm not going to jump on you. Mike says, I feel the high roaders have a lot to answer for. I warned you before about Mick Fish, and you know my opinion on the other one. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Mick totally turned on me. I had nothing against the guy. That's the whole thing, too. It blows me away. Kenny Stigler says, Ricky, Jay, and Brevis paid her to file against you. Ed Savino says, no, others have done worse. Worse? I don't know. What did I do that was bad? No, tell me, what did I do that was really bad on here? You know, I'm so upfront that I can be so decent to people when I want to be. I even apologized, of all people, to Popeye several days ago because he gave me a strike for using a photo of his mom and dad. And I admitted, I said, that is wrong. And and I apologized. Of all people, of somebody I just despised, I apologized, which is a really hard thing to do to Popeye because I can't stand a motherfucker. But I knew the difference between right and wrong. These people don't know the difference between right and wrong. And you think that big ego, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because he's the money bags guy. And he emphatically denied, so how many times we heard it from his own mouth, that he had anything to do with her, that he had not given her any money for legal defense. I don't buy it. I don't buy it either. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. He speaks with forked tongue all the time. He contradicts himself a lot, too. Mick says, you live a good family life. Others engage in debauchery and destroying their kids' lives. Ed Savino says, you're the better man. Popeye would never say he was sorry. And you know what, guys? Go back in history. You know when I really got caught up in the whirlwind on here? I was being just as bad as the people were on here at one point, and I admitted it. I said, I don't want to be part of this whirlwind. I don't want to be part of this. You remember that? And I even gave an apology. I even gave an apology back then. I said, I'm sorry. You know, I got caught up in the whole fucking whirlwind of what was going on here, and I don't like what I'm doing. I said that. Now, if you people seem to know a lot about me, then you'll understand, and you'll remember what I said. You got none of these asswipes out there that would ever admit any wrong. Yeah, I've said a few things on YouTube. I absolutely did back in the day. I most certainly did. I'm man enough to admit it. They're not. Estefina says, you're the better man. Popeye would never say it was wrong. Yeah, yeah. I admitted it. You know, like I say on the channel of truth, well, it's not really an exaggeration, you know, because face it, all I talk about is things we've already seen and heard. How can I be a liar? How is it possible that I could be lying when the things I talk about is the same things every one of you guys out there, if you've been following all the shit through the years? How could I be lying? Where's the lies? There's no lies. They're trying to find so much shit on me, but it ain't working. There's been a lot of complaints, I'm sure, put against me at immigration. But they look at it and they throw it in the fucking basket. Because it's not backed up by affidavits. It's not backed up by anything. It's not backed up by any evidence. They tried to blow my house down. They huffed and puffed. And then they wound up eating fucking crow. Look at Don C., what he tried to do me with Nika. Look what they tried to do. Don C. couldn't achieve. The judge threw it out. Or the lawyer threw it out. It wasn't even a judge. The lawyer said, you ain't got nothing on him. She's an adult. Even if something did happen, she's an adult. Nothing ever did happen. Nothing happened. But Don tried and he tried to blow my house down, but he couldn't do it. And that's why Don is so against me, if you want to know the history between me and Don C. Because he wanted to join the big boys club and, you know, talk a lot of shit about me and all that. Then he tried really hard. He spent a couple of $1,000 is what he spent. Okay, and he tried to get, you know, some kind of charges against bullshit crap having to do with the chick in the wheelchair. And by the way, she was my friend. And a friend to Gilda too. And we done great things for her. When we didn't have to. We did. We went out of our way sometimes. If you remember in the beginning, I tried to document her living situation. Do you remember that? Yeah. And as I said, there was a time, and Frank's not a compassionate person. I'm so fucking evil, right? There was a time, and I talked about this before, when I was visiting her, and Gilda was with me as a witness. When her cousin came in, but she couldn't do on her own. They had to lift her up and bring her down, which they had some horrible stairs. They could have fell and got hurt more. Bring her underneath the house to go in a bucket in a disgusting area made of sand and soil and dirt, fucking river. And I actually had a tear coming out of my eye when I saw that. Thinking to myself, I don't know how she lives this way. Like, I don't have any compassion. That's far from the truth. The car loan king, is that what he is? Nick says, we all say stupid things at times, but as I said, I speak louder than words. And these high roaders reek of hypocrisy. They sure do. Subprime Dawn is a pretty funny nickname. Yeah, I like that. The car loan king. Wrangler, this says, hilarious cast. Subprimed and Big E is claiming Stanford or Netflix specials. Yeah, I know. I've heard it all. You know, I've met people with big egos in my life because I've been around for a while. You would think that I've met all kinds of people in my life, and I certainly have. But I've never seen an ego that big. It's all about money. Money corrupts. They use money as an empowerment. Don't fuck with me or I'm going to get a lawsuit on you. Don't fuck with me. I got the money to put you away, motherfucker. And they probably do have the money. But you got to find good fucking reason to do that. Good fucking reason, money or not. Okay, Mick says, Gilda, kids would kids uh, think the world of you, especially the accountant girl. I have seen real. You have real family life. Uh, I do, actually. They don't want to hear that. As Palmer's saying, "Oh yeah, Frank has no family. They hate him. They can't wait till he dies." From a bitter old man, it's coming from, who has nothing. He has nothing that I have. Nothing. What do you expect from an old man that's fucking deteriorating as we speak? That's never been laid in decades. Fuck, you're gonna be bitter. Of course you're gonna be bitter. You're upset that somebody you don't like is living a better life than you are. Jealousy, envy, green eyed monsters. Brett, welcome, Brett. IKEA. Biggie working on third book. No word on what happened to the book 1 and 2. I never even knew. Biggie claimed 30 different contributions to publications, and oddly, no one can find him. There is a reason Mick says that Biggie don't go back to the States. Well, we went over that already. We understand. Oh, it goes back to the States. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, as I said, everybody has a background. Everybody has a reason. Even I do. I gave my reasons why I left the United States. As I've always said, and I'll reinforce what I said, that people are mostly running away from something rather than towards something. Look at the cast of characters we have on here. Barry ran away from America for his child support and other factors, right? Brevis ran away because he had a protective order for his family because he did something terribly wrong that he had to leave the country or probably face getting killed. Kevin had left the country because he thought that he could put a good life together, but it didn't work out for him. So that's why he's back. It wasn't a vacation, as he claimed. Oh, I was just on vacation. I was never planning to stay. You're full of shit, Kevin. You're so fucking full of shit. And I bet you gained a lot of poundage too. Last time I saw you, you gained more weight. How's that working for you, pal? Mick says if you have all the money in the world, as he says he has, I can tell you Da Nang wouldn't be first port of call. Well, wouldn't be mine. I can think of better places outside of Southeast Asia I'd like to live. Definitely. But it does take money. I'm sure he's got more money than I do. I'm definitely sure of that. I'm not rich. I never said I was. Never implied that I was. But we're okay. Wrangler says Big E went to the same school where William Abrams got a medical diploma. Hey, William Abrams. Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with. Look, there's fact in this fiction, right? There's fact in this fiction. You're going to believe whatever you want to believe. If you had to believe half the things people said on here on YouTube, I mean, come on, man. They build themselves up something bigger and better. And Big E can't stay. He's already done several shows. He can't. He says he's going to be off YouTube to write his books. He's already done several shows already to talk about the wonderful weather. He can't keep people away. I mean, it's hilarious to me listening to all this, and I'm really glad to see that things the same way I do. That you've heard the same things I've heard through the years with these characters. It's a pretty good reinforcement of my thoughts and what I've heard and experienced from these people. I'm glad you are as observant as I have been through the years and the conclusions I came up with these people. I mean, look at Ricky. Ricky is bound to get in trouble. And we know his address. I know exactly where to find him. Boom, like that. I can almost walk up to his door.
I know the building, the whole thing. I've been by there many times. I know exactly where he's living. But he has the balls because he's not mentally all there, obviously, from his own demonstration. I like to put that in, disclaimer. His own demonstration. The guy's fucking gored. And if he did spend time in the service, he got out on some Section 8 something or something, some psychological discharge. It have to be. I wouldn't be convinced otherwise. It had to be. Mick says with all his money, he can't even give his kids a proper education. They're the real victims. Okay, in your comment. I'm not even going to elaborate on that. I'll keep the children out of it. Look, as long as people do have an understanding of what's going on YouTube, you know who the victims really are and you know who the culprits are. That's all that matters, is you guys already know this. And again, I want to ask you again, elaborate if you can. First of all, do you think I deserve to be deported as an undesirable from this woman? That I've done anything that gross to deserve a complaint? Well, we know why the complaint was put in. Isn't that a little bit of overkill? Considering I've never met the woman. And boy, I got information on that, on what violations she has done. Oh, man, I've talked about them already. Not all of them, though. Has anybody been listening to her shows? And what is the name of her channel again? Because I've tried in the past. What's going on with her? She's still drinking? Because that's an observation. And, I'm not going to put any disclaimers or anything in on this. As I said, I talk about what I witnessed. And I've seen numerous amount of shows where she took to drinking and buying liquor and even having these somber moments. Well, I don't know if I should drink. And she's been really stressed out of this whole situation with Barry, with me. So she's paying the price. So I asked the question, is it worth her putting in that complaint against me, knowing what she's going through, that she's never going to be with Barry? How did that her? Revenge, yes, but she's never going to be with Barry. She did it for nothing. She just put herself in a bad situation. Did she not? If you believe Ricky gets $8,000 a month after taxes, he smoked crack. Yeah, I understand that. With Barry, you can't put brains in a statue. Yeah. But answer my question. Do you just think I deserve a complaint from her? And has that helped her, or will it help her? She understand what she's getting through. What is the name of her channel again? You got a link or something or whatever? I can't get on there. I don't know why. Then I forgot her name of the show. And what's the update on her and what she's posting? She mentioned anything about Barry at all? Is she still drinking on camera or talking about alcohol and stuff? I mean, this is what I've seen, my own eyes, okay? I'm not making this shit up. Yeah. Because if he was making that kind of money, he wouldn't be living in that dump. I know the building. It's Bodega Homes. It's low income housing. And come on, if you're going to spend a lot of time in the Philippines and you got that kind of money, supposedly, you're going to live in a decent place. Not some fucking shithole with some fucking little LED lights around his bed looking like Queensland Hotel or something. Brett says that Mick F. lucky to be with the teacher from Cebu. She is nice. I don't know if he's with her or not. And I don't really care. And the other subject on that is I've never said anything bad about her. But Popeye likes to claim, well, that's Popeye, of course, that I did wrong to her. How? I met her personally and we never had no problems. She didn't seem mean to me or anything like that, except she didn't want to take my money to help her out for her little organization for helping people. I offered, I told her, they admitted. I offered 1,000 pesos, not much, but it was a good thought. But why should I be enemies with her? Because
She has some kind of relationship or friendship or whatever with the Miss Fix sandwich. I don't care about that. That don't mean anything to me. He could do whatever he wants. I don't care who he's with. But why is he trying to hide it? Why was he trying to hide it? I don't want her on camera. I don't want her in camera. Why? I mean, what was he trying to hide? What was he trying to? Why? And for Popeye to say that, oh, you're saying all these nasty things about that woman. What? What did I say about her? Tell me. Show me a video or something. Anything. What I said bad about her. Because there never was. Mick says that your money is good as any. That shows Mick Fish and teacher only use that food giving for their image and ego. Yeah, they want to show they were better than me. Oh, they're going to pay for our meals to be nice. But when he had it all, he had a motive for all this. He had a motive for all this, for trying to be nice to me and all that. In fact, he even, he even put a little icing on the cake. He gave me a box of nicotine gum. I got it right here. He gave me a box of nicotine lozenges. All a big front. Like he really gave a shit about me. Like he really cared that, that I should quit smoking. But like he really fucking cared. Yeah, he cares so much that he hopes that I fucking drop dead. That's how much he cares about me. I did no wrong to Mick. I did no wrong to him at all. I didn't do anything wrong to that guy. Zero. Zero. I don't deserve the shit that he puts out on me. Nothing at all. Nothing. Nada. But that's who he is. $27 strong, 10 thumbs up. Thank you, folks. It all comes out in the wash, isn't it? I'm glad to see that you understand the characters on here. That's really refreshing for me to hear. It really is. You've heard me already apologize to Popeye for putting his parents' pictures up. I always try to, and I'm trying to find the right words. And I'm not finding the right words. In other words, I'll admit if I'm wrong about something. Well, these people won't. I've apologized in the past. I gave a blanket statement at one time. As I said, when I got caught up in the whirlpool of all the shit that was going on, that wasn't the terminology at the time I used, a whirlpool, or something else. Oh, the vortex. That's it. I used to use the word vortex. I got sucked up in the vortex. I certainly did. And I you back then, if anybody that I've ever said anything about, I give you my apologies about. I said that too. This is what makes me above these creeps. That if I did something wrong, that I will admit it. That doesn't show guilt. It just shows that I have the capacity to understand right from wrong. The day that Mick says that the day he met you, they were both acting shady, hiding from the camera. Yes. Yes. You'd be right. You would be right. You'd be absolutely right. Why did he want me to hide her on camera? Why did he make that request? She might have shown it on there accidentally, but I pretty much abided by what he said. I might have seen her out on the canoe or something. I don't know, at one point. I kind of missed it, but I was not pointing at her because my girlfriend at the time was on one of those little canoe rides in that little cove. I wasn't concentrating on his friend, girlfriend, whatever the hell she might be. It don't matter. I don't really care. And then I'm going to tell you something. And Mick emphatically denies this. He came on somebody's live stream. I forgot if it was Big Kevin or who it was, or Popeye. It was one or the other. And he came on. He sounded like he was drinking too, so the truth comes out when you're drinking. He said, I have no reason to lie. I think you believe me now. That he came over there. He said that she
had paperwork all ready to sign an affidavit. And the ridiculous thing they said that they've accumulated 1,000,000 pesos, which is about 18,000 pesos, to drop Barry's case. And he came on and he emphatically denied that. I heard it. And he said it on a live stream. It was either Popeye or Big Kevin. I don't remember whose it was. He said that. He says, here's what went down. He said that we came over and his friend was acting like a secretary of sorts. That she had paperwork with her, that if I agreed to sign that they would give me $18,000, equivalent to 1,000,000 pesos. I heard it. I may have one bad ear, but I heard it. Now he emphatically denies that. He denies that. Wrangler says Mick gets drunk, gets online and threatens people. LOL. Yeah. So there you go. You guys, we've been on here for a while. You guys come up with your own conclusions about all this. Who's right and who's really wrong? Would you ever really believe that I would try to defile a woman in a fucking wheelchair? Would you believe, shine 'em up guns, Gilda, that we would actually say and mean something like that? That would get me into a world of hurt to say, or her relatives to say that, oh yeah, her relative shot some guy. I mean, I'd have to be Looney Tunes to say that on there. Under any conditions. That was choreographed, and we knew we'd get a reaction to it. And they've used that. I've been hearing it for years. That was one of my best pieces of work, the Shine 'em Up Gilda show. Not the Mock Tree thing. No, I think this is one of the better ones. I'd have to disagree with you, you know. I'm getting smiley faces now. 28 watching 12 strong. 29 watching 12 thumbs up. Keep them going, buddies. We just got to expose all these people for what they are. But you know, the good thing is, I'm seeing things a lot clearly now that people know what really went down through the years. And history has a way of repeating itself. And they know who's right and who's wrong, who's bullshitting and who's not. Mick says, there is no doubt that the teacher is doing line with teacher, huh? I think they try to hide it as teacher has kids and married before, so don't want to know they are breaking the law. Well, look, it's their business. It's their business whether somebody was married or is married or before what their relationship is or still is and trying to hide it. Well, that could be a factor that maybe Mick didn't want to show her on camera for possibly reasons for that. But I don't know that. I don't know that. I'm just going to put a disclaimer on that. I don't care what their situation was, is, history or not, whether she was married or not, whether he was trying to hide it. I don't know. And I'm not going to put any information here that I cannot prove. So I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't know. Well, you know it. Okay, well, I don't know it. And even if I did, I wouldn't put that out there as a factor. You know, what he wants to do and what I want to do. Whether he's still married or whether she's still married or if she is or not, I don't know. There are things I know and there's things I don't know, and I'm not going to say anything that I can't prove on here. I'm just not going to go there. For legal reasons, obviously. Look, everybody has something to hide on here. We've established that quite accurately. They all have skeletons in their closets, every single one of them. I can't think of one that doesn't. I mean, I didn't even know if Rod, Amazing Philippines, what's going on with it. I know he's married now. Rod doesn't do shit shows like that. I got to give Rod credit, you know. He talks about real estate and different things. He's doing something right. Why don't people practice that more? They might actually be able to build a channel and make some decent money. So, there you go, as Popeye likes to say. And Popeye, you really are you are really a creep. You really are. And you deserve your lifestyle. To think you have to live that way till the day you die, that you will never be with another woman again. But nobody's innocent on here. Look at fucking Philly in the Philippines, who used to hang around fucking Angeles City just photographing women. And he's talking about all this shit about, Scotty Boy. He's equally guilty. He's worried too. Oh, he is. He's even lost a lot of weight from all the stress. He eats one meal a day because his stomach probably can't handle the stress he's going through because Scotty Boy knows he's wrong. He went and grabbed the woman's tit, not once but twice, the same woman, and she said no. Of course, he moves around a lot. These people have absolutely no fucking direction. Popeye has no direction in his life. None of these people. People are living in a different country because they know they can't come back to the Philippines. They know what could happen if they did and got in trouble with their spouse or whatever the situation is. And they down the Philippines. Oh yeah, Vietnam is a lot better. When we remember in history that loved the Philippines and everything about it. And they boasted about it. They're all full of shit. They're all full of shit. Great show, by the way, this morning. Thank you for the dialogue and recourse. Wrangler, this says, IMO, BI, heard this audio of demeaning Filipinos online and are now slow walking into any release as punishment. Yeah. Barry, I know yeah. Well, Barry, crap, and he's got to be one of the dumbest motherfuckers on here in YouTube history in this genre as we know it in the Philippines, if not outside of the Philippines. That is one dumb ass fucking hillbilly. I don't know if it's the inbreeding, I don't know what it is. But he was hit on the head by his father besides getting fucked up the ass. I don't know what it was or is. But he is the dumbest motherfucker who has repeated his mistakes over and over again. And where has it got him? It got him, he's still in jail. That's in his heart. He has too many haters for this to go away in relationship to these new YouTube deportations. Yeah, he's worried too. Of course he is, man. And he's hinting about going back to Canada to kind of regroup or something, but I think he should. That's the advice. He should just permanently get out of the Philippines. He's going to wind up like these other people. It's going to happen. You know it is. Something's going to happen to Licky at some point, right? You know something's going to happen with him as an example. He'd have no fucking balls. He met me several times. If he had something that much against me, he could have fucking pounded me in the fucking ground. He could have tried. But I got to give myself credit when it's due. You all heard that video when I was there in SNR. And I laid it out on him right there with Guild as my witness. And you all saw it. And he backed down. Oh, I'm just playing around. I'm going to get off YouTube anyway, he said. But no, he continued to be on YouTube doing the same shit. They don't learn. They don't learn. Then there's 1,000 trolls on his back. He's a man-child, Peter Pan complex. Oh, you're talking about Scotty. Oh, God, yeah. God, I do watch him. I do. Not every show, but I do watch him. There's definitely something wrong with this guy. I mean, there's not any shred of doubt. And this shit with the Babe Roonies and all that stupid, childish junior high school talk. I'm going to go to the Bank of Rooney. There's another Babe Rooney. Philly Willie. Let's go to Philly bar. Everything had the word Roonies at the back of it. Guy's got problems. He's got major problems.
Mick says, you stood strong in S&R that day. You were locked and loaded. Yeah, I was. And he's saying that Scotty's pretty much, he's pushing 50 almost. Look at Sneeko. Let's not leave him out of this. He's hanging around with a woman friend because he can't get a real woman for any sexual gratification. He probably can't even perform, for all I know. But, I don't know that for sure. So I'll retract that statement. But, it's an opinion. I'll leave it at that. Snicko hasn't done good with anyone. Have you ever seen him with a real relationship with a real woman all these years? All these years he's been on. Have you seen Snicko? He'll say, "Oh, I don't tell all. I keep my personal business private." No, he don't. He's usually pretty out there with his stuff. He'd be proud, posed there with a woman that he's in an actual relate. Not his friend Maria. He's not in a relationship. He's a friend. She's a friend. He even said it. Who do you think he's hanging around right now? He's traveling around the Philippines. Where's he spending his time with her? If he was such a ladies' man, why can't he find a woman? He needs companionship. He don't want to travel alone. He's got Maria. And I met her. She seems like a nice girl. But he was trying to poison her mind about me and Gilda. That's what he was trying to do. She even interfered when we were on the ferry. She even kind of interjected something in it. I don't remember what it was. She interjected to cut him off as if to say, come on, they're nice people. He was implying a few things. But anyway, she seems like a nice girl. I have nothing bad to say about Maria. I actually did meet her. Great shoe. Thank you. Uh, Snicko lost. That's another thing, too. What happened to the loving relationship, father and son relationship? Sneak out with Popeye. He don't mention Popeye, his mentor, anymore, does he? He even had a falling out with Popeye. Popeye's losing friends left and right. He never had any. You're right. He don't mention Popeye at all. The lovers had a spat of some sort. Oh, damn crying shame. A damn crying shame. Still 23 strong, 13 thumbs up. Thank you, folks. Been a fantastic show today, I must admit. But I've been on here for over 2 hours. Yeah, I promise to keep my shows short, but it never happens. When I get a lot of people actually, doing a dialogue on here, I kind of lose track of time. I do that a lot. My bad. But it turned out to be a good show. We had the great Alo Di Vinta in here, and we had a cast of characters in here, I think, this morning that are willing to come on and talk the truth. So what did we accomplish? We accomplished quite a bit today, didn't we? We have all exposed these people for who they are. And it's not through my eyes and my ears only. It's through all these people that are making comments on here that have experienced or heard or seen what people have done or said, coming from the very people out there that watch my shows, that watch their shows, and everybody has come up with their own conclusion. You know what I always say? Eat shit. 100,000 flies can't be wrong. They're eating shit for a reason, okay, if you haven't figured that out. If a multitude of people are saying the same thing, it must be true. They must have heard the same things. And they're coming up with their own analysis and their own conclusions of what they have experienced through the years with the very characters that we're talking about on here. Yeah. Yeah, Nico is another cartoon, Donate says, Nico versus Ferry boxing match would be great. No, Nico's a big guy in girth. If Nico could do damage to somebody, he could by his own zip code. That I couldn't help. He was sitting in the chair right there. Holy crapola on a shingle, His fucking hips and his thighs were so fucking big. I guess that's where all the weight went. I couldn't believe it. I said, how does he even walk? What do I smell? Fish?
You're making fish for breakfast for them?
That one is salted fish.
Oh my goodness, salted fish, just what you need. No, you don't need that, sweetheart.
Salted fish, but it's not salt, not
Okay,
salted, just dry fish.
dry fish. Well, it's actually good. Is it mackerel or is it? No, it's not mackerel. It's other fish. Okay. Aloe says people start to support you, Frank. They were changing their mind about you. Keep going. You got this. You just tell the truth. That's all, man. The truth always prevails. It's not just in a movie on TV where the good guys win all the time. It's in real life. And if you've been following me for all these years, you know whether I'm telling the truth or not. I've come clean about things I've said and done on here, where these people will not do that. They don't have the capacity to do so. I think there's a lot of people that are turning around, just like Trump supporters are now supporting the Democratic Party. They're changing colors and they're seeing everything that Trump is doing. And, staunch supporters of Trump or not, they can't tolerate what Israel is doing, his Nazi regime. People know the truth after a while, but it takes masses of people to change their mind too, whether they want to go along with the cattle or they just heard enough to the same thing here on YouTube. When the evidence comes together and pieces together, it may take them for a while to figure things out, but they know who's right and they know who's wrong. It gets to a point they have to admit it. People like Mick says, people like Big Ego and Mick Fish, their lies get them found out at the end. True. It all comes out in the wash. I will continually say that. It all comes out. It always does. Has it not? We had a lot of shitheads on there. Everybody had revered Ed Lippert. Why? Because he was in the military, makes him a great man. Ed Lippert, who passed away because of his own lifestyle. But, Ed Lippert had a lot of shit to say about me and people too. He wasn't innocent. He wasn't, I feel sorry for the guy because he's overweight. He's an old man. He was in the service. He did all these great things. Okay. Great. Did something for your country. But it doesn't excuse other things that he's said. And I've heard him talk shit about me all the time. No tears coming out of my eyes for him, Fazio, or anybody who's passed away on here. There's no tears coming out of my eyes at Barry. He's been incarcerated over 1,000 days. I'm just very glad about this show this morning because Alice said, hit that like button. Alice said, do you know we got 32 people that jumped up to now? We got a real show going on here. Let's also say hello to Robert Clausen. Hello, Robert. Hello, Big E. Hello, everybody. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Jay. Hello, hello, hello. Let's wave. Aloe says, hit that like button. Oh, I'm running low on my oatmeal. I'm going to have a little more oatmeal, I think. What's left of it. I don't know what else to eat this morning besides eggs.
Cook eggs.
But smelling that fish doesn't help.
Yeah.
Brett IKEA says, you'll be at 1,000 subs soon. No, I won't. Back up to 30 strong again. Boy, the numbers are fluctuating, but we're in the running here, baby.
Rice.
We're in the running.
Rice.
What's that, babe?
Racing.
Oh. I got another good question for you guys. Popeye, all these people say, oh, Frank's got a terrible relationship. From everything you heard, do you think I'm in a false relationship? Do you think she's using me for money? Who thinks I've got a fantastic relationship? And if you don't, I give you the stand. It's all yours. You think there's a certain amount of envy going on with this? I think I have one of the better relationships on YouTube. One of the better relationships. 8 miles from home has a wonderful relationship with his woman, absolutely. Other people too.
you know, I have not seen, I could really make comment on that. I mean, we've seen relationships come and go. I mean, look at, oh, yeah, look at Mike in Philippines retirement. Janet left him, right? Right? Okay. Mick says Gilda is making her own money. She would be self-sufficient if she wanted. She could. She could. She don't need my money. She got more money than I'll ever fucking have. If she had to liquidate stuff, especially. She's worth more on paper. She's actually worth more on paper. But I'm not going to get into that personal stuff on that. Yeah, she could be self-sufficient if she wanted to. There's no question. Brett says Big Kevin has a good relationship with his right hand. He should name his hand, actually. I don't know. He's another boy, a grown-ass man. What he used to do, famously, instead of helping his kids out, they're all fucked up on here. Instead of helping his kids out, he'd be buying these stupid toys. You don't need a green screen anymore, technically, as far as material. You could do that online. You don't need an actual, solid green screen to buy. And he was buying toys, little things that make noises, and little things that light up. He's like a fucking man-child. A fucking man-child. Kevin didn't get laid once for how long he spent in Vietnam, and then when he made a short trip to, excuse me, when he went to Vietnam and then Thailand. He stayed in Thailand. He didn't get laid once. Oh, they're all killing it. Yeah, like Licky's killing it too. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And I got more testosterone than a fucking 15-year-old. Yeah, right. Their dick hasn't touched a real woman in fucking decades. Not any of them. Shit. 16 thumbs up now. Okay. Thank you, folks. Really big shoe this morning. We got a really big shoe. I didn't expect it really, but we've got a good cast of people that heard and seen it all. Haven't y'all? And I haven't heard any lies from you people either. The statements that being made on here can be backed up by my viewers of what they have actually said on my show. They can be backed up. So they're not lying. They've heard and seen all the bullshit on here with all the players. And you label them quite correctly. And your analogy is actually quite correct on some of the people you've been talking about on here. Kudos to my viewers today on this show, for sure. You hit the nail on the head. Here's the thing, acknowledging and backing up your statements is key on here. Because you know how it works, The odds of so many people seeing the same thing, feel the same way, that it's true, right? The mathematics, as I call it on here, the mathematics of it. If I heard this, right, and you all have heard this, it must be true. It's like in a court of law, preponderance of the evidence, that kind of shit, right? That's what they do in the court of law. Is that not right? Of course it is. Oh, I hear it taking off. A commercial airliner. It all comes out in the wash, folks, doesn't it? Alice says they're here to show their support. He says, many people realize you were right all along about Shaw and Barry. They respect that. Well, they're not going to show that because they're afraid of being attacked. They're so afraid of everything on here. Because One of the reasons I've always said is that they're afraid of being attacked. They're too afraid. I know one thing, Al, is they're afraid of attacking you. I can tell you that right off the bat. I think also Aloe got caught up in a lot of this shit too, the whirlwind, the vortex I talk about. And yes, of course, I'm not going to go over that shit again. I'm not even going to say it. Yeah, I've dealt with Aloe in many not very good ways, but as I said, he's been cool. And it's not kissing Aloe's ass or any shit like that, Popeye would say or something. Popeye's upset because he thought he was part of the gang, the big boys club that wear the big boys pants. But it didn't turn out that way for Popeye, did it? It surely did. Even fucking Snicko jilted Popeye. I mean, how much could be embarrassed by what you do? I mean, it's 17 thumbs up now. Wow, we're on a fucking roll. Alice says, they know the other side lies. They know they're trying to bring you down, and now they see the truth. The truth has always been out there. You gotta believe it. But people are put in a state of fear. Oh, they're gonna do a lawsuit on you if you talk the truth about them. Look what's happening to someone right now that this person don't even realize it. You know, they thought they were going to try to remedy something by putting a complaint on me. Well, I don't know the outcome of this. And from everything I've read, I don't think it's going to go her way. And you know, insult to injury, I mean, she's injuring herself. Because it may not turn out very well for her. Perjury, aiding and abetting and harboring a criminal. Shit, I'll come on sometime and I'll tell you what the outcome could be with that. And it's not very good. It's not good at all, in fact. Mick says, Frank, you learned your mistakes when you got fooled by Mick Fish. He came to you as a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yes, he did. Yes, he fucking did. That's why I ended it with him. I told you we used to talk a little bit. Not much, but we used to talk a little bit on Messenger, okay? He knows that's the truth, and I'm not lying, because we did. Right, Mick? You know we did. I've actually got all of that recorded, too. And someday I'm going to put this on there. I'll leave it alone right now. I told you, I record every fucking thing before it can be taken off. I record it. Usually I do it, you know, old-fashioned way. I take the other phone. Is what I was doing with stuff like text and stuff. I'd take the other phone and I'd basically make screenshots. Oh my God, the screenshots I have on here. I'm surprised my phone is not exploding. Look, if I'm wrong about something, I'll admit it. You know, the horrible things they say about my daughter, my brother, these people get pretty cruel. Only I know the truth about my relationship with my daughter, and I've even talked about some of it. You can't be around negative people. I love my brother. He knows it. He always knew that. He loved me too. He had problems though. As far as my daughter's concerned, I'm just going to keep her out of this and just say that we had our differences. That's all. You know, I can only give advice to a certain amount, and when they're not taking my advice, that's all it is. There's some other factors in there too, but I'm not going to reiterate all this shit out here. You're either guilty of something or you're not. It's either yes or no, you know. And blood don't mean shit to me. They're still people. They're still people. And blood is not thicker than water like some people say. That's not true. It's not true at all, actually. Sometimes, you know, it is what it fucking is. I don't take things with a grain of salt. There are ramifications for every single thing that you say on social media or off. And there's a couple of people out there like Vitali and Slim that found out the hard way, didn't they? Jay, who's going to find out the hard way because Jay was caught in fraud. Even Popeye has put on some really vicious things and putting documents or something on there going all the way back to this so-called fiasco in Hawaii with my tenants. Popeye did a lot of wrong. He did a lot of wrong. Mick says, I can tell you from experience with Mick Fish that he tried to destroy me. He's a vile person behind that front he puts on. Okay. These are all vile people. Okay, their excuse a lot is that, well, you know, we say these things about Frank because, you know, we just want to pull his chain and get a reaction from him. But here's my reaction. This show today, there's my reaction. There's your reaction. Well done. Well done. All comes out in the wash. And I'll tell you what, today's show is one of the better shows we've done in a while because people have come forward now. They've shared their experiences with these people. They've acknowledged that they've heard everything that I talked about. They watch my shows, they watch other people's shows, and they came to their own conclusion about these people. The great stride, it really has been. Fantastic. So what's the word on Discord regarding me? Am I a hero? Or am I a culprit of some sort? You know, if it's said on YouTube, it must be true, you know. Mix calls it the Great Awakening. That's a good one. I'll accept that. The Great Awakening. Look, Mix, it's like this. Like Popeye, like Barry used to say, it's like this. It's like this. Well, tell us like it is, Barry. It's like this. They know what they're doing is wrong. They want to push the envelope. They want to see how much they can get away with. They're upset with me because I do actually have it. I mean, I don't have all the numbers. I admit it. I don't have all the viewers. I don't have the numbers on here to compete with anybody on here. And I don't think that'll ever happen. However, there's so much intense jealousy and envy with me because I'm not roaming around the streets, chasing my tail. I'm all settled down here in my dusty island, as they like to call it, my swamp. Don't even wish they lived in my dusty island in my swamp. Did I have actually achieved something? Stability? Grounded myself with one woman for 10 years? And we're going to celebrate my anniversary on here next month. All the naysayers. You're not going to last 6 weeks. Well, it's been 10 years, my friends. 10 years. 10 years. I have not given out any cigars yet. I got a big supply of them here. What am I going to do with them? They'll go bad. I have not given out one cigar yet. Okay. Well, anyway, I want to thank you guys. We had a fantastic show this morning. Thanks for your input, Aloe and Mix. I have to acknowledge people, Aloe, and of course Mix. And who else we got? We got Brett. Acknowledge Brett. And Who else has been in here? I want to acknowledge Mr. Donate to Ben Newton. We got Wrangler in here too. Thank you, Wrangler. And who else I didn't mention here that's been quite boisterous in here? I might be missing somebody. I don't know. I'm just scrolling. And not to mention John Smith. Thank you, John Smith. Thank you, Kenny Steiglitz. Thank you. It's refreshing. Okay, thank you, Al. Have a good day. Stay in touch. Maybe one day we'll hook up on a voice-to-voice somehow. Okay, folks, thanks for a great show this morning. I didn't mean it to be this long, but since we've had a lot of dialogue going on in here, kind of lost track of time like I normally do. I got to go on my time now. I got to get off here, finish my breakfast, and do a little exercise. And well, I'm not really done yet. I'm having oatmeal, but got to get my blueberries defrosted. And I also want to have a couple of eggs too. I'm not done yet. And I got to finish my special brew tea. Oh, Mr. Uranus. Okay. And Ed Savino. I'm sorry. You know you're not dog meat. I'm sorry. My mind wanders. I'm an old man. Don't forget that. I'm an old man. But let me end it with this too. I don't know, man. I see myself getting older. You know, I can see it in the mirror. But I'll tell you what, I've seen some of these people who are a lot younger than I am. I've seen even people that are around my age. And I will say, I'm not impressed. I got to give myself a little bit of credit that maybe I've been doing some things that are actually good for me, or my genes are pretty good. No, I don't look like a young man in any sense of looking like a young man. Those days are over. They're over. I know that. You know, it sucks how our bodies turn into and morph into something we can't even recognize sometimes. But I've maintained my character. I've maintained my looks, I think, to a greater point than most people. Sure, I got the signs of aging on me and all that shit. But what I've seen around here, I'm not impressed at all. I'm not even impressed with these people's wives or girlfriends on here. I'm not impressed at all for what I've seen on here. I got a lot to be thankful for. See, even on my lowest moments I think about things. And I'm a lucky man. Now, hopefully, a certain person is going to take my kind advice, my suggestion, that what they did was wrong, that there's going to be ramifications. And that is not intimidating. I want to say this loud and clear. I am not intimidating this person at all. I am suggesting that it might be a wise idea to come clean, to speak the truth. Because once the facts come out, if it doesn't turn out her way, well, she'll be in a world of hurt, and I think she knows it at this point. And if she can't see or understand this, well, she's setting her own fate. Because the facts are all out in the affidavits and everything of her cooperation with Barry. It's all there. Numerous times in the counter affidavits and other pieces of material that were also submitted. She is guilty as charged. Well, she's not charged yet, but she's guilty. Has anybody ever heard me calling her a whore or a prostitute? Do I represent a threat to this woman, a physical threat or otherwise? I don't. Never did. Never will. Except legally. That's it. I don't care to meet her. I don't care to know her. And I don't care about her at all. Except if you're trying to ruin my fucking life and for no good reason, and if you know anything about me, you know damn fucking well I'm gonna fight this tooth and fucking nail. How dare you put a false complaint against me as such with no fucking proof. So why did immigration take this report? That's the question. Why? Well, on one hand, if you have a documented, it doesn't mean what's true in the documents, but if you put in a complaint to a lawyer, it's a complaint. And the immigration has to consider the fact that it's just anything, oh, you're right, this guy's a bad guy. No, she had she went through a lawyer. She went through a lawyer. So they have to do what they're doing. They have to do what they're doing. It's a protocol. They have to put you on administrative hold, all that. It's a protocol. Not that I'm guilty of anything. But this is how they play it. You're not really doing anything wrong. And administration, you'd say, well, that's really wrong to put a hold on me and all that other shit. Well, yeah, it is. Until proven otherwise. That's wrong. Yeah. Try fighting the system, right? I know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. You know damn well. But it is what it is. And you got to make the best of it. Therefore, you have to defend yourself. And if you don't, you're a fool. See, the fact is, I got something going for me in my life here, and a lot of these people don't. And unless you're in my own shoes, you wouldn't understand what's at stake, right? I could lie about it. Sure, I'm upset about all this. You have no idea how upset. I'm not pulling my hair out because of this. I'm living my life day by day. It continues on. My life continues. But how dare somebody... Look, I told you about an incident. I'm not a violent person, and I can't do that to anybody. And I'm not a physical threat to anybody. But outside of YouTube, I've had my times when I worked with a guy that pushed it too far, and he regretted what he did to me. He pushed it too far, and I reacted by the throat. Grabbed the motherfucker by the throat, and the supervisor had to break us up. Now, I'm not obviously going to do that. I've learned in life that violence is not a way to handle anything. But some people are out of control. And if you push somebody hard enough, strong enough, they could be out of control. But that doesn't apply to me in my adult days and all that stuff. And I'm going to have my last, then I'm going to be off here. You push anybody too far, you push an animal too far, and they're going to react. They're going to bite your ass. Same thing as a human. You can only be put, then enough is enough. Good morning. No. Me and Barry were never friends. That was part of the problem. I didn't want him as a friend. Of course, he took that personally. I didn't want that kind of scum coming to my house all the time around me and Gilda and the kids. I didn't want that kind of influence around here. The fucker would even throw cigarettes on my fucking ground here like he did every place he rented. Didn't ask me if I had an ashtray or something. Barry got mad because I didn't want his friendship, and that's what started it off. You didn't believe I even donated to this guy for his tea, $20. I think I gave him another donation. And I even gave him money in his pocket when he came to visit me. He was with, what's his name? Yeah, he came here uninvited. I was nice to Barry. I even offered him a Montelukis tablet. It's like if you've been, whether you have a cold or allergy or your lungs are full of mucus. It's called Montelukis. I even offered him a Montelukis and he took it. I was being very nice to Barry. I didn't have to be. Because that's just my character. I've been nice to haven't been nice to me. I'm capable of doing that, but no, we were never friends. Same as Ricky. We were never friends. I just helped him out, and he shit on me after that. When it came to Fazio, he wanted me to sign an affidavit, me and Gilda, which we did. We got hijacked into that. And what did he do afterwards? He attacked me and continued to attack me and continued to attack me. They're all going to meet their fate. It's a promise to all of you, whether it's by their own natural cause of death or it's by something legal. Just trust me. Have I disappointed you people before? Think about it. You think you have the capacity to carry through things? I told you, I've documented everything on here. Yes, it took a lot of my time to do it, but hey, I'm retired, right? I got the time on my hands, don't I? I'm going to say the same thing to you. If anybody decides to have a YouTube channel on here, it's critical that you document every single thing. Because when push comes to shove, they try to do a case on you, then you, like Barry got surprised when he saw that evidence in the courtroom. I'm surprised he didn't faint and fall on the floor. I'm serious. You seen his reaction. Then when everybody in the courtroom, he was at the back of the courtroom standing up. When they heard everything he had to say, and they all looked back, looking at him, and boy, that must have been a moment for him. Adams family, the political poster, when he was running for mayor, there's a picture of him with a cigar and the smoke coming from it, saying, "Watch my smoke." That was funny. You remember that? Well, I'm going to tell everybody, watch my smoke. Welcome. We're going to kind of sort of talk about a situation now, what he's facing, and some other stuff related to this. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. People are coming like fucking crazy. Welcome. Here at the Truth Network. I'm going to read you off some information that pretty much spells out his current situation on here. And some other juicy stuff that relates to a complaint that was against me. I don't know, shall we begin? Okay. All right, we'll begin. So a few more people coming here. We're going to give kind of an update and his lovely bride-to-be, what she can face as a result of perjury and so forth and so on. Now, of course, I'm just a messenger on this, and this is updated information I did receive, which simply just spells out the potential charges in perjury and harboring and aiding and abetting and all that good stuff. I'm just a messenger here, just kind of dictating a little information here to both of them to contemplate. Okay. Let me say hello to my neighbor going by here and we'll start. Hey, what's up? What's up? Yep. Everything good. Oh, it's wonderful. And I can get rid of the fire ants, whatever the hell they are. Okay. Okay, we're going to read you some here. I would normally show you this information by just, using another phone and just, pointing it. But I just, just wrote it down. After all, I'm retired and I got time on my hands, right, guys? Okay. Okay. Let's start this, shall we? As of late January 2026, Barry Lee Jordan remains in a BOI awaiting final resolution of his deportation. Since the libel convictions are local criminal matters, the BI will not process his exit until all court mandated requirements or sentences, if that was associated, to those pleas are fully satisfied. The latest status summary, legal standing, he's convicted of 5 counts of cyber libel, classified as an undesirable alien, Current location, he is at the BI Warden Facility in Taguig. Release outlook, there is no scheduled date. Release is strictly contingent on clearing up local criminal liabilities before deportation. If complaint against me, for example, is proven to be false or malicious, the person who filed the complaint can face both criminal and civil damages. Perjury under RA 11594, lying under oath in a sworn statement, may face perjury or filing a bad oath, it's called a faith oath, OATH, under Article 183 Penal Code, of 6 months to 6 years. And to conclude on that, criminal charges also under Section 46, who conceals, harbors an alien, a fine of 10,000 pesos and imprisonment of up to 10 years. Well, there you go. Oh, there's more, but I'm not going to elaborate any further than that. I think that's pretty powerful stuff right there. So again, I asked the question, was it really worth it? Was it really worth it? Here's my 13. Welcome back, boys. Yeah, welcome back. Always good to have you back. As you can see, I do spend my time researching things. Of course, I got to protect my own ass, right? That's what's all protecting your own fucking ass when some bogus statements has been filed against you. Again, what would you do in a situation like this? You wouldn't be very happy, would you? But the deed is done. And there's only one solution of this in regards to a particular complaint, is to tell the truth. By telling the truth, these particular possible charges or pending can be eliminated. Now, again, I'm going to read, if the complaint against me is proven to be false or malicious, I don't make this shit up, the person who filed it can face both criminal and civil damages. Perjury under RA, which is Republican Act Code 11594, lying under oath in a sworn statement, which is the affidavit, by the way, the sworn statement is the affidavit, may face perjury or filing a bad faith oath under Article 183 Penal Code. Punishment for 6 months to 6 years, according to the discretion, really, of the court. Criminal charges on Section 46, who conceals, harbors, and aids abetting an alien, a fine of 10,000 pesos and imprisonment of up to 10 years. It almost sounds a lot worse than what's going on with Barry. Wow. Imagine that. Imagine that. Again, I'm going to ask the question, is it worth it? Or was it worth it? And if so, how? Now, if anybody out there feels and understands the unjust, this is vexation, this is a lot of things. You could, put this under a lot of different categories. I want you, I don't care what you care about, you like me, love me, hate me. Let's talk honestly here among yourself. If you were put in a situation like this, what would you do? Would you go eat on somebody for putting you through all this stress, expense, indignity? Would you do nothing? Well, when it affects your life with your partner and family out here, because somebody decided, I'm going to get even with you, mofo. And ask yourself the question, was it worth it? Was it really worth it? Now, in a perfect world, you put a complaint in and it's going to go your way. Well, it's not a perfect world, and not everything goes somebody's way. There's a lot of ifs and buts and challenges, and then there's going to be litigation and mitigation down the line, because the person's not going to go down that easy. You would imagine you would not do that. Put yourself in this exact situation. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If I liked you at all out there, I did this for Ricky, but showed no appreciation for it when it came to Fazio. Me and Gilda, we did sign some affidavits. Because true. Of course, Ricky, of course, shit on me later on after all this. Okay. Okay. Anybody out there who is been following this, if you believe, okay, again, I want you to put yourself in this situation. You, not me. I want you to put yourself in this situation. As I said, I don't care if you're a troll. I don't care who you are, like me, love me, hate me. It's all okay with me. But if you've been following this stuff and you live in the Cebu region, would you be willing to actually go to my lawyer's office and compound this thing? And it's not that I need evidence against, this complaint, okay? But imagine it's you. Now, if I liked you on here or something like that, and I knew all this information, and I knew it to be false, I would go to your lawyer's office. I say, I am so and so. I have followed this little drama for so many years. I can sign and attest that he never said these things. There's a false complaint. Anybody out there willing to do that? Go to Alan Legaspi, Legaspi and Associates in Cebu. Tell them who you are, what you want to do, and why. I'm putting that out because I'm not taking no chances. I want to see this thing be done and done. Again, if I liked you on my show and I knew an injustice was being as, hey, I cannot tolerate what I'm hearing on this. This is complete bullshit. I don't believe that somebody could just so innocently try to destroy a man and his family because GASPI and Associates in Cebu, you can find his information on there to contact him, and you can make an arrangement to come there. I'll even pay for the affidavit, no charge out of your pocket whatsoever. Don't sit on here. Your confidentiality is my concern. I will never mention your name. Be you. It could be you and you and you and you. Not to stand for this crap anymore. There's too much shit going on YouTube and too many people getting away with their shit. If you truly believe, and I'm not going to put no words in your mouth at all, you've been following us, you know exactly what's going on, you know why the individual, no names mentioned on here, why they put a complaint in. There was coercion, there's a lot of things going on with this. A lot of things going on. And it all had to do with, kind of a get even type crap. But do you think they think about the other person? What a lie can do. What a lie can do. Look at what's going on with Trump's regime. Innocent people on the street being taken out of their homes and being put in a fucking concentration camp. Was it fair for these people? Well, it's not the same thing. It is similar. There were very innocent people being put in jail. Yeah, so if you live in the Cebu region, or if you don't, I'm going to push this as far as I can. Alan, Alan, Legaspi, Legaspi, and Associates in Cebu City. You can very discreetly go there, say who you are. I want to fill out an affidavit in favor in regards to me. They will gladly help you out. It's just a matter of them typing it up. I will pay for those charges for that. No problem at all. Of course, you need to bring your identification, passport, whatever. That information will be on the files. And you must know that would be used in court or with the Department of Immigration. It's not going to get you in trouble in any form or way, not even close. But if you've been following this menagerie, this bullshit, maybe it's time that my viewers do something that I did for you all by putting some creep in jail. Putting some creep in jail. Yes, you missed the Barry update. I'm not going to read it again. I'll leave that up to you. It has nothing to do with me being desperate at all. Everything's going to proper protocol and procedure. But I'm not just satisfied with that. I'm not just satisfied with that. Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. Let's see my devotee viewers And as I said, you don't have to like me, love me, even tolerate me. But I think people have to do what's right. And they have to, from what they heard, what they've learned, what they witnessed, that in no way is any of those statements valid whatsoever. And you're willing to sign a piece of paper on that. He'll draw it up. He didn't ask me to do this, by the way. I'm asking you. And as I said, it's not out of desperation, it's just out of fact. And it's
Why you have
to put this to rest. Hold on a minute. Sorry, I had to take care of something. I was just calling my stepkid, has a little bit of mucus, and I happen to have a little tablet here for him. Now, you guys know what I've been putting up through the years on here, and all I've gone through with Barry Jordan. I am so happy that that situation is over for me and him. I can't explain how satisfied I am how that worked out. There are no words for it. There simply isn't. There's no words for it. But I gave you the statutes, the laws involving the woman who they say, oh, don't discuss the case online. No, I'm discussing the issues, is what I'm discussing. I'm discussing for informational purposes, disclaimer, informational purpose, what happens when somebody lies under oath, and that's what the person did when they signed the affidavits, the complaint that was made against me. And you heard what the charges can be, and that's just that alone. But then there's the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin, okay? And that is harboring, aiding, and abetting, and we can prove that. That is not a problem to prove. That could be up to 10 years in prison and a small fine, relatively small, like 10,000 pesos, because it'd be up to 10 years in prison. And that's just on that alone, okay? I don't make this shit up. I don't make this up. Okay, I went back and listened to Barry is not getting out of jail. Not anytime soon, unless he satisfies all the demands of the court. And that means paying him the penalty, paying me my damages. And also, on top of that, which makes it even harder, is, paying all his immigration fines for 7 years. And he's never filed any other motions because he's not represented by attorneys anymore. He doesn't have the money for attorneys. So he's stuck. He's stuck in, and the word was indefinitely. In other words, forever, unless something gives. Definitely. It's not a good word. You don't want to hear that word indefinitely. No, you don't. So I am being bold enough to ask my viewers, and as you said, to put yourself in my situation. You know who I am. You know whether I did something or not. A dude is spending the rest of, well, I don't know about that. He's going to spend a little more time there, it sounds like. He's got to get out sometime. But, the immigration people, they're very predictable, okay? They can hold you in as long as they want. They may not like your face. I mean, it could be anything. Whatever it might be. They already deemed him as an undesirable, so he's a done deal on that. So, does it pay to do this shit on YouTube? Obviously not. I hope people are learning from this because it's real. This is not made up shit. You've been following this for years. My situation with Jordan is done. It's done. It's over with. It's gone, girl. But the other situation is not done. I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and let somebody crap on my face and my family and try to deem me to be an undesirable and try to get me deported. Damned if I'm going to sit back and I'm going to take this type of crap. I already read you what the penalties are for perjury, a statement under oath, because you're under oath when you sign a document, an affidavit to put a case against someone under oath. It's called a faith oath, Faith, I believe, faith oath, Oath, not oatmeal. Okay. Speaking of, I need another package of that. Okay, I got to interject some humor in. Yeah.
28 strong. Look at this today. We're gaining momentum on my show. Put yourself in my position. You have a family here. I don't care where you are. You could be in America. You could be in Canada. You could be in Nova Scotia. I don't care where you are. You could be in bumfuck Egypt. I don't care. But let's say Philippines as example. Somebody comes up with a bogus complaint on you. What are you going to do? Let the court or let the immigration decide. No, you're not. You got a wonderful woman. You got a new family. You got a home. Stable. You're grounded. You're happy. You love the Philippines. You love the people. You love your partner. And by all means, I hope you love yourself. And somebody puts this shit on you. I tell you what, I will make a statement. I will defend anybody on here and put an affidavit in. If you got into a similar situation, because that's only if, all going on. I make you a guarantee. I'll be in your lawyer's office if you're in the Cebu area, and I will sign an affidavit that I have listened to the bullshit and I know it's not true. That's what I'm asking for my viewers. Alan Legaspi, Legaspi, and associate for the fees to write up the affidavit. Of course I will. It doesn't involve any expense except your own transportation to get there. And hopefully you're in the Cebu area or adjoining areas. It doesn't make any ship for you to come down. This is not out of desperation. I want to repeat that. This is a insurance policy to get the truth out. That's all it is. Everything is going, the truth will come out. But if you appreciate what I have done for the community, you weren't able to help me during the Barry situation. I got the job done, didn't I? You don't owe me anything really, but in a sense, some appreciation for the fact that I was the one willing to get this worthless human, this piece of trash, off the streets, out of the bars, out of Filipinos' lives, in a safe place where he can do no further harm to people. In light of that, I will simply say I would appreciate if people would come forward and do exactly what I'm asking. It's not that I feel plenty on that situation, but the more ammunition, the better it is, obviously. If you could live with yourself doing this, just imagine you're in that situation and nobody wanted to help you out. And you were doing this all on your own. Besides your lawyer's help, you have spent countless hours in your own defense, finding rhyme and reason why this report, this complaint was completely bogus. That you, sir, never said these statements on there. There was no video proof of anything. So we sort of got it together with that. We do. But I want to go further than that. I want boots on the ground with this. I want boots on the ground. If you're in the Cebu area or adjoining area, Alan Legaspi and Associates in Cebu City. Look him up, make contact, make an appointment. You may want to drop in if he's not busy. He might be able to accommodate you right then and there. Any expenses involved with him writing it up, which will not come out of your pocket. It'll come out of my pocket. Bring your identification, whether it's a passport, ACR card, or if you're Filipino, just bring your normal identification there. Okay, dear. And I would really appreciate it. I think this kind of shit has to stop. I know you didn't like what happened with, you know, pro-life traveler. I know you didn't like what happened with Vitali. And they really did some shitty things to people. And this is just getting kind of out of hand on YouTube. And we got to send a message to all the creeps out there that are consistently and persistently trying to make allegations and trying to defame, discredit, and trying to ruin somebody's life simply because they don't like them. Put yourself in that position. What does the complaint say? Dude, you must be new. I'm not going over that shit on here. It's a complaint against me saying I'm an undesirable alien and made false allegations in many ways. that I said things and so forth, which everybody knows is not true. Anybody who's been following this for a long time knows exactly what's going on and why. Okay, I want to go eat. So, if this is something you want to do, I can't force you to do it. But if you feel strongly that the person is wrong on their complaint, you know what to do. And nobody will be at your side. I would. If I knew something like this was happening to you and I could prove the person to be wrong, and if you were good to me on here, I'll be there at your office, your lawyer's office. I did that for Ricky. I regret it now, but I did that for Ricky because I felt very strongly about what Fazio did. He did a lot of wrong. I did that for Ricky. Me and my girlfriend did it. Me and my Filipino, we did that. No problem. Ricky paid the fees of the write-up and all. He just, to the lawyer. I'd have to, I didn't get paid for doing this from Ricky. I got nothing from him. Zero. Me and Gilda did not ask for any money. That's what happened. Well, it's a false complaint. It's like I tell you, Mr. Alien Sturb, I can't even pronounce your name. You're a newbie, but I just can't go in. It's too elaborate and it's too detailed. Just picture you're a foreigner living here and some Filipina decides to get even with you because you put her boyfriend in jail for something that he did to you. And that's what it's all about. It's called revenge, sir. And you don't want to be in that situation. There's nobody on here that ever want to be in that situation. If you don't want to be in that situation, sometimes you got to stand up for shit like this. Like I said, you don't have to you don't have to like me, love me, dislike me, hate me, whatever. I don't care what it is. Put your own situation. Think to yourself, what would I do? What would I do? As I said, I'm not desperate for anything here. I just want to put my boots firmly on the ground to make sure I get all my T's crossed and all my I's dotted, and to kind of jump into this gung-ho using 50 millimeter rounds instead of 22. That's what I'm trying to do. No more, no. Either somebody's right or somebody's wrong. And of course, I fully believe that she's wrong on this, obviously. And so does a lot of people through time that we've been talking about this. I've had a lot of support on this. Well, if you want to support me, yeah, you have no reason, Alan. You got to stand up for yourself. That's what you have to do in this country. Your lawyer can only do so much. You're the one that has to bring the evidence in. You're the one that's going to provide the facts. All he could go over is all the legal mumbo jumbo that he wrote up and all that stuff. They do a lot, don't get me wrong. They're the ones that write it all down. They know the laws out here. Those are your heroes. Remember that. Your lawyers are your heroes. But they don't do all the work, and you have to put a little work. Not a little work. You got to put a lot. You know what it took me to get Barry in jail? And never mind the money I spent. Actually, people want to know the exact amount. What it actually cost me. It cost me actually about 350. It was less than I thought. 350,000 pesos, which was not a problem. And I'd do another 350,000 on it if I had to. It didn't break the bank or anything like that. So that's the story. Yeah, you do got to stand up for yourself. Nobody else will. You're upset. Your girlfriend or somebody, and I understand that you're upset because you want to marry your boyfriend for whatever reason. God only knows. But don't pull that kind of shit. And she picked the wrong person to fuck with here. She picked the wrong person, considering I went through with the Barry Jordan case. And she goes out and puts a fucking complaint on me. And now, we're not exactly discussing the case. I'm giving people pointers on what not to do. Okay, and how this could affect somebody who's lying, and they got two things against them. They got the perjury. So in other words, if they drop the complaint and all that, she's got perjury against her. She's got aiding, abetting, and boarding a fugitive, which he was 7 years overstayer. The agents that were there could provide proof for that because they're the ones that arrested him. He was at his girlfriend's home. It's all down there, man. It's all down there. Okay, man, I gotta go. Thanks for listening. Consider what I said. Alan Legaspi, Legaspi, and Associates. I'm not gonna give up my email address here.
because I have a new one. I will know if somebody came forward. I'm sure my attorney will tell me because he's going to want to be paid, obviously. And I'm sure he'll give me the information. Don't be shy. You're not going to get in trouble in any form or way for this. Nobody's going to retaliate against you for coming up with the truth and signing an affidavit. That's up to you. Sounds like you are saving her from that guy. Well, we all tried. We all tried, but she didn't want to listen. Now she's paying the price. They're not even together, really. I mean, she can't be because she'll be deported and she's not going to be able to go to the United States. It's been over. If it ain't over, I mean, it's really over. She could be in communication with him, possibly, whatever, but I think that's about it. And she knows it's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. It can happen because he's going to get a permanent blacklist. So I said, put yourself in my situation and what would you do? You also would be reaching out there to other people and say, hey, come on, it's time. Time to finally tell the truth about this all and cooperate. I'd be deeply appreciated. And so would Gilda. Obviously. I'm not going to stand for this. Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. Enough of this shit. Yeah, I got a good story to share with you that I heard from another vlogger named, I think he's called Philippines Joe. I think that's his name, Philippines Joe. And I like to share these stories because it's something we all have to look out for. But I think it is Philippines Joe. Maybe you've heard of him. Maybe I'm not sure of his age. He's got to be in his 60s. I'm sure. Now his story was that he wasn't feeling good, and I don't know. He getting a lot of just really feeling out of it. Stomach cramps and aches and all kinds of shit like that going down for him. You know, he didn't know what the hell he had. He went to I don't know. It got so bad for him. He said, honey, I need to go to the hospital. Of course, she was concerned what was going on. Okay, well, he goes in the Philippines to a hospital, and they pretty much come up with a conclusion. It wasn't a great hospital. It pretty much comes up with a conclusion that, oh, you have pneumonia. Well, it wasn't pneumonia. Of course, they treated him for such, but it was worse than that. He kind of refers to Philippines as a training ground for doctors, really. You know, training ground. And not a place that, you know, I mean, if he knew he had a serious heart problem going on, okay. There are some good doctors out here, I understand, but of course, you see an American doctor at a very good institute, you know, and you're covered if you got, I don't know what they've done to Medicare these days, but, you know, generally you got some coverage, you know, be the best idea, right? Well, you know, things were getting worse for him, and they discovered he had basically a hole in his heart. Oh, how? I don't know. Now what happens is the blood was seeping out of his heart, right? Because his kidneys and his liver was breaking down. Because he was spreading infection from the blood that was coming out of his heart because he had a hole in the heart. Okay? It was turning infectious, affecting his kidneys, affecting his liver, and all that stuff. And they had to put him into, well, he was knocked out for 9 days or something. He had to put him under. They operated on him, and he's doing well now. But he was an hour away, as the doctor said, from being dead because a Philippines doctor told him he had pneumonia. Well, he could handle that, he said, you know, pneumonia, I could handle that with my hands tied behind my back, you know. But
That wasn't the case. Little did he know. So she was smart enough. And where were they at the time? Maybe they were in America at the time. They were going to come back to Philippines. I don't know. I had it worked on a time thing on this. But he was taken to a really good hospital with a really good heart surgeon, and they operated on him. But he had to stay in there for quite a while. After a week, he couldn't even pick up a cup, and he was always, rather, in his life, rather athletic and stuff like that. So, he had basic. Doctor told basically he had about an hour to live. I'm glad you came in now. So he was put under. He was under for quite a while, and he woke up, and his wife was bawling and all that, and you know, glad to see he's got his eyes open, he's alive, and everything went well. And uh, so he recovered from that. But his message to everyone is that, I mean, last resort, you're going to have to get some kind of initial treatment, but don't expect, heart doctors in the Philippines to be the best in the business. That you are better off going to America and getting it done there if you don't get shot and killed by that you're such a threat to the ICE agents or something that they don't want to killing you. They kill, and attacking old women and little children. So, I don't know what's worse than a heart attack, getting killed by ICE agents. I don't know. Well, whatever. But see where I'm coming from here. But don't hesitate. Don't come here. Now, there's don't come to the Philippines. Well, he didn't know he had a pre-existing condition. Okay, let's make that clear. But if you know you have pre-existing conditions, it's not like this has never been talked about before. I'm just emphasizing it. That's all I'm doing. It's a subject you've heard many times before from many people and advice. Where a lot of people, expats, make that mistake. Take care of your business before you come here with a good American hospital. If you're from America or whatever country you come from, take care of the problem so you get a good bill of health before you actually want to actually move out here, because your life, is really going to depend on that. I came out here with no pre-existing health conditions, really. But if I knew I did, I certainly wouldn't be out here because I've got no medical coverage out here at all. It's cash basis only out here. Unless you have some insurance, and I wouldn't trust any of those companies that are really pushing their product out here, and you know who they are. There's a lot of drawbacks on these insurance agents trying to push their way to get you to buy this insurance and all that, expat insurance and all that stuff. I wouldn't do that because there's so many restrictions. Most of the stuff it's in hospital treatment, outpatient treatment as well. You're gonna pay a whole lot more for that. And I don't know. It's just, well, I mean, it's better than having nothing, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's the best. And what you're paying for that, that's my opinion from, because I tried to sign up for something and I finally got an approval, and you wouldn't know what I had to go through the test. They want to know everything. They want to know when you sneezed last. Then their age. You're gonna pay through your nose. The older you are, just keep that in mind. Unless you're that financially, solid, that you don't have to worry about it. But a lot of people are not, and they're going to ask you everything. They want to know everything. Because if they find one flaw, you said, and find a record that says that you had something or another, they won't give you the insurance. They won't give you that. So keep that in mind. You might think it's a great idea, but for the money you spend every month on that insurance, you could pocket that and use it toward a hospital or go to America or whatever country you come from, have things done, because there's even a question as to whether or not you're going to be reimbursed, because you're going to, generally, most of these places, most of them, you're going to pay the money out of pocket and then wait for the insurance company to pay you. Although one company claims that, well, no, we'll send it directly to the hospital, you don't have to put out any money, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know. Haven't heard everybody's story on this and how these particular insurance companies really, they pull through or they don't pull through. It's a chance you have to take, but it's certainly better. So as you get older, things change in your body. Things could happen to you at any moment at all. So it's a concern to any expat living in this country here, and it should be. And there's a lot of people who kind of take a different view on things. If it happens to me, it happens. It's meant to happen. And you might be living on a dusty island like mine, in the middle of the Pacific, along with its beautiful white sand beaches and palm trees and all that stuff. It's a horrible place. Horrible, horrible. But you don't have access to good care. And it would take you anywhere from 3 to 4 hours to get to a really good hospital facility from where I live. And many provinces are like this. It's not just where I live. So that's also a consideration. But people make their choices where they live and they just, hope for the best, and, if you're a praying person, you'll pray that nothing like that happens to you, So, well, thank you for the smiley faces, whatever. Yeah, so be careful with that. And of course, I think of my mortality all the time, you know, uh, lots of reasons, getting older and all that stuff. I'm not a young man anymore. But plan well. Don't just move out here because you found a woman you're interested in, you want to be with her. Don't even dare. Get your shit together first, financially and every other way. Your health situation, make sure you got go through a checklist with your doctor, have tests done, everything from colonoscopy, get EKG, monitor your heart, see if there's any blips in there. Maybe you've had a heart attack once you don't even know about. That's quite possible. You might have something going on you're not aware of. So try to do that. I remember before I came here, um, I did go through some things. I had an endoscopy down the throat, and I also had a colonoscopy, the other end, and everything was okay. Well, yeah, it was okay. There was nothing to be concerned about. Um, Never had a heart condition. Never had high blood pressure. That's another thing. Monitor your blood pressure different times of the day. Even if you haven't had any problems, just monitor it and try, a little induced activity and just see what kind of activity you do and monitor your heart rate. That's all. Just monitor your heart rate. I do that now and then, and I like the numbers. I don't do heavy duty exercise. I don't do heavy duty at all. I work out with light weights. That's it. We're talking 20 pounds. Jane Fonda weights, as some people put it. At least I do that. Well, move your blood around. Don't be as sedentary. Don't be so sedentary, and that's a big clue too. Move around. I don't care what you do. Work in the yard. I don't care if you have to walk around your house, or go for a walk on the beach, or something like that. Move around. At least doing something. And I noticed that when I'm doing something like that, I feel more empowered. We're not talking about money empowerment like some people, but I feel more empowered when I know I've moved my body around and I've done some moderate exercise, and it just gives me a feeling of empowerment. You know, you get the juices flowing and all that stuff. And for God's sakes, don't take fucking steroids and testosterone. Jesus Christ. Maybe testosterone could help some men, give you more energy and spunk and all that stuff. But stay off. Stay off. If you want to be like Jim, he's more concerned about his fucking muscles than his fucking brain and the stupid things that he does. You know, get off the steroids. This guy was on it for 20 fucking years. I mean, he's in for a big surprise. I hate to tell him this, but he's too stupid to understand because he's a man that likes brawn but has no brains, which is like a lot of people on here, no fucking brains. Sorry, I had to throw that in for good luck. So monitor your. If you feel different in any way, examine why you feel different. Take your blood pressure, take a temperature, see if you have a fever. Drink plenty of water, of course, hydrate. And if you're feeling funny and something just doesn't seem right, because nobody knows your body like you do, if you're feeling funny, go and check it out, even if it just means going to a regular GP and tell them what's going on, and they could give you at least an idea what's going on. Obviously without further testing and all that stuff. They may tell you to go in for a CBC, a blood test, and a urinalysis and all that stuff, and that's a good starting point. They'll measure your blood pressure and all that, see if you had any problems with that. I've never had problems with my blood pressure, so that's a big thing for me. And I'm very surprised, knock on some wood over here somewhere,
that I never had a problem with my heart rate. I never had any problems like that at all. Doesn't mean I can't in the future, but why think be pessimistic about it? Just be realistic. That count your lucky stars. That you got one thing going for yourself that's good, and your blood pressure, is right on target at where it should be. So that's a real plus, especially as you age. Your blood pressure can change and take a different direction. You can go either way. You can get low blood pressure or high blood pressure. Low blood pressure will make you faint, guaranteed. All right, so that's basically. I think his name is Philippines Joe. You might want to look him up. It's kind of an interesting story that he gives. I don't know. It's about 20 minutes long or something. I'm not sure how long it was. But you may use him as a guide. And the reason he put his show on that is because he wanted people to understand what he went through and what he suggests that you do, for your own sake and for people that love you and all that. Uh, and have things checked out. But, I fortunately have never had to see a heart specialist in the Philippines. First choice to do it if you had a real emergency, such you may not have a choice about it. You know, let them make an evaluation. If it's serious, I mean, real serious. Well, you're going to be stuck with them because if it's real serious, you're not going to be shipped out to the United States, in time. Sometimes you got less than an hour to live in certain situations that are going. He had a hole in his heart. Understand something. Just picture you got blood seeping out of your heart. It's going to affect you in a lot of ways. But that blood was going inside your body, going to your organs like his kidneys and his liver. And they weren't in good shape because the blood can get infectious. Okay? So that's what happened to this guy. Yeah, you would imagine that would happen. So, as the story went on, the doctor said, you know what, after he woke up from all this and explained to him, oh, you're in this hospital now, you're not in this other hospital, and blah, blah, blah. And he had some really good care from a good doctor, nurses that's around him 24/7, as you may not find in the Philippines because they're always understaffed or something. And people that knew what the hell they were doing. But yes, if you did have an immediate heart problem, yes, you are going to have to see some heart specialists in the Philippines because that's going to be your only bet at the time. And if it's serious enough, you can't be transferred. It would be too late to be transferred. So you're going to have to hope for the best. That's all you can really do. Don't worry about money. If you had a situation like that, you could work out something with the hospital, payment, a promissory note, whatever it might be. So if you happen to have no money for something like this, I'm sure it's going to be expensive, but you can work something out. Sometimes they want a down payment from you. Other times, if you say you can't, they're going to want to be paid, of course. A lot of times they wouldn't even let you into the hospital to have any procedure unless you could pay for it right there. And it is still true, I will tell you that it is still true. What I understand is that they still will hold you hostage in the hospitals here if you don't pay them. I don't care. They don't care. Hey, they don't care. Get a relative, get whatever. Mortgage your house. They don't care. They don't care. But they want to see a promissory note and how exactly you're going to make you pay. You could come up with an agreement. Let's see, it would be how much you want to pay per month. They may ask for a down payment. I don't know. I haven't been in that situation yet, and hopefully never will be. But um, they would actually hold you hostage in the hospital, and you will not be able to leave your hospital. I could definitely tell you outside of that situation, a lot of times you're in the hospital, they want you to stay in your room. They want you to stay in your room. They won't let you walk out in the hallway. Oh, you should be in your room, Mr. B, and, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And, I have one bad habit, and I'd go out and want to go outside in my little PJs, my hospital gown, and outside to have a smoke. Well, okay, I'm not an advocate for smoking and all that stuff, and that could cause a lot of these problems. But I'm just saying, you're being stuck in a room. I went in the bathroom, a can of spray. That never worked. That never worked. They knew what I was doing, but they didn't really say much about it. They didn't say too much. But that was cool. But I went to a pretty good hospital. It was a private hospital, and not for a heart condition. But what I did go there for, I mean, it was good treatment. It was good treatment, but unfortunately, these hospitals, you might have to wait for a bed. I had to wait for quite a few hours just to get a bed in that hospital. So they had to put me in the hallway of the emergency room. And it's okay because they shot me up with fucking morphine and fentanyl, so I wasn't feeling any pain. I was feeling very relaxed, and thank goodness for that, man. Thank goodness for that. Because, when you're in pain, you're in pain. You want a remedy, and you want it, like, not now, you want it yesterday. You know, pain really sucks, no matter where it's coming from or what the source is, you know. But there are people, believe it or not, that have no pain receptors. There's some people born where they don't feel any pain at all, which is not good, because that's what lets your body know that there's something wrong with you. And you need to know if you have pain. And a lot of people, not a lot of people, there are cases of people that, burn from something, they don't feel it. They got a pain in their body for something that the receptors are not, signaling this. And that's not a good thing. You want the pain. That's the only way you're going to know that something's wrong. Because if you ignore something, well, you could die. It's according to what the hell your pain is coming from. But yes, there are people like that all over the world. I wouldn't say that there's, an enormous amount of people like that, but there's enough that, that people notice that there are people out there that have that and documented that they actually do. So it's really not a good thing after all. Anyway, that's all I really have to say on here. You know, take this guy's advice, and if you're feeling strange, man, as I say, you know your body better than anybody. Tell your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. I'm not feeling good, man. I think I need to go to the hospital right now because you'll know when there's something wrong with you. Oh, you'll know. There's no question about it. You know how you normally feel, and something that comes up on you that is really strange, and you can't explain it, or your body's trying to tell you something. Get your ass over to the ER or something, and at least get an evaluation of what's going on. Let them do blood tests and urine tests, and let them do any kind of screening, CT scan, or whatever the hell, EKG and all that stuff. Let them do what they have to do. And don't worry about how much it's going to cost. You don't need the extra strain, and you don't need the extra concern about, oh, gee, how much is this going to come to? It's your life. You can work out the financial details later if you're in that situation. Don't worry about that. Worry about your life. Get the treatment first, and then you could figure out whether you're going to be broke for 10 years or, it would be well worth it though, wouldn't it? It means you're still alive. So, I don't know. Heed my advice on this. Just don't come out here, if you're not really well. No matter how good looking a chick is, you want to come and be with her. And you shouldn't want to be with a Filipina anyway. If you're going to be a liability to her in some way, but she's going to become your caretaker, she's not signing up for that initially. You're just meeting her, and she hears that stuff, and something happens. She's out of there. She's going to ghost you. And you know what? You can't blame her. You can't blame her. Because she doesn't, she's not having you come out there to be the caretaker. There's some people that do that. People do have medical problems. They're looking for a caretaker out here. Oh, you know how nurturing Filipinos are, but they figure if I had to go to a nursing home or something in America, they're going to take all my money from me, everything, property, everything, and to take care of you. The state's going to take your money. That's why a lot of people are in a situation like that, they find the nearest relative and say, hey, usually a close family member they could trust and say, I'm putting this house or whatever it is under your name. This way they can't take it. That's what they do. If you're smart, I mean, because they will take that from you. I had a friend, Larry, who passed away, and whatever money he had in the bank, he couldn't use it for anything, because he was getting some state funding for medical and whatever, and whatever he was getting, and it was tied in to his bank, basically. I mean, I said to him, why don't you just, I don't know, tell him you're a gambler or something. You gambled all your money away. You don't have any more money. You know, take the money out of your bank, put it in some socks or something, and put it away because the state's going to grab it on you. You know, they'll take all your money. But I don't know, Larry. Just I don't know. Maybe he didn't care. I don't know. Maybe he didn't care. Uh, it just was too stupid to understand it. But no, he was a person with an extraordinarily high IQ, nearly a genius. Seriously, nearly a genius IQ. I forgot what he's told me his IQ was. He read all the time, and that's all he had time to do because he was always home all the time. He didn't date anyone, never had sex, never had a real job. You know. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned from it. And remember, I don't get paid for this. I'm doing this on my own time. So learn from what I said, and kind of don't be in a big rush to move out here. It's a nice place and all that stuff, you know. There's some beautiful Filipinos for sure, but what good is having a Filipina if you're not in shape to enjoy her, if you know what I mean, in a lot of different ways? You know, if you think you're going to drop dead or something anytime soon, then by all means stay in your own country. Don't come here, man. Your life is worth more than meeting a Filipina. I assure you that your life is worth a lot more. You could take the time and get yourself well again. And if you're an alcoholic or you may try to quit your alcohol habit because you know you're going to drink more when you come out here because liquor is cheaper. I guarantee you'll be drinking a lot more. And that's not going to help your situation, and it's not going to help keep you with a Filipino that you're meeting because they really don't like guys who drink. Contrary to what you may believe, I'm not saying that Filipinas don't drink. They do, probably more than you know, but not like the men do out here. Not like the men. Okay, anybody wants to make a last second comment before I get off here? You're welcome to do so. Otherwise, I'm just going to finish with the show here, and if I said anything that helps you, I hope so. If you want to listen to that guy's show, I believe he's called Philippines Joe, and you'll probably find it if even you put Filipino Joe or something, but I think it's Philippines Joe, if I'm correct on this. And you might want to listen to his story. You may want to fast forward on him a little bit. He gets into too much initial detail, but it's actually worth listening to the whole story on this. If you want to listen to something good on here, yeah, there actually is some people with some decent shows on here, man. You get away from all this fuck you crap and, I'm going to get you crap and, attacking each other crap. That's all it is. Okay, one of my later night shows here. I'm winding down for the evening. I was watching some funny kind of cartoonish type stuff with this little old guy facing up to a man who was huge in comparison. And the old guy hits him in his solar flex and gets him in the liver, and the guy just goes down like a fucking rock. It's funny, but it's not. There's not mistruth on that. There actually really is. There's a lot you can actually do, but I don't advocate that kind of shit. Never do, really. There are real ways of dealing with a bigger person that'll save you a lot of time and toil and probably a lot of damage to yourself. It's all out there. Just look it up. I mean, I could show you what to do, but I'm not gonna. But you can actually do it. But don't even get yourself into a situation like that. I suggested. Don't even try. It's not worth it. But yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge guy or anything like that, and I'm not exactly 20 years old anymore. But I don't know. I think I've learned a few things that might save my ass if I had a situation like that. I think it would actually work, but I don't really want to get to try it. You know what I mean? It's called damage control to your own self, actually. So I don't suggest it. But if you find yourself in a position like that, I mean, there are things you could actually do. But, if you're going to be living here in the Philippines, don't even, I mean, my gosh, don't even get into it, I tell you.
you're going to get a lot of tough guy talk out there and all that shit. And, just get used to hearing that. But they're not going to do anything in the Philippines to get themselves in trouble. This is obviously not the place to do that unless you want to wind up like part of the forgotten in, a cell in Manila. I'd probably suggest that it may not be the greatest idea just to avoid temptation. As much as you may think as much of a tough guy you are, there's always somebody tougher than you. But that's really not the point. The point is don't go there in the first place. That's my best suggestion. We're not all superheroes, and I'm not a superhero. Just if you come across a situation like that, I guess you have to face it. But all you can do is the best you can to protect yourself. That's all you can really do. Chances are you're going to get the shit beat out of you. It's not everything by the book and all that stuff. They're not going to pose for you and, okay, there's my solar plex and there's my liver and, there's my jaw. And they're going to stand there like a statue. No, it takes being very quick and being unexpected and stuff like that. But it can be done. It can be done. But again, I don't advocate that. I don't advocate violence in any formal way. I made my statement on that. Okay, what's going on in the YouTube community? Too busy watching movies tonight, so I don't think I'm missing very much, to be honest with you. Well, actually, I was watching movies, but I'm always on my phone at the same time. I find myself kind of researching stuff on here, and thank goodness for cell phones, huh? Yeah, really. Well, they do come in handy. Imagine how many years ago was it? Just now you can just practically press a button and ask a question, and somebody comes back, AI, and gives you an answer. I mean, boy, if we had that, when I was growing up, man, I'd be with a lot of knowledge, and so would all of us, huh? Sorry, I had a bad connection here. I go back to the times when, we definitely had dial phones. I mean, I don't know if some of you are old enough to remember dial phones. Yeah, I think I remember my parents once having a party line phone, if you could believe that. You pay much for the phone, but it was always possible that somebody could be listening in on you. And that was a problem. And there was actually something, it was during the time, early days I lived in Seattle. They had a number you could call, it was a party line. And people from whatever with this, I'm not sure why they had it and why they had it free. They were testing something, I don't know. But people were in there just rapping with each other and shit, and people trying to date each other. It was really crazy. I don't think you guys ever remember that. This was an early battle. You dial this number, and whoever was on there, and you talked to them. But it was the same thing as fucking YouTube, man. People were, yelling at each other, or I guess people are people, then and now. And it was funny, if somebody didn't like you, or they want to be an asshole, they'd play music so to drown out everybody else. Hey, it was a thing on CB radio. I used to be pretty big on that. I really enjoyed that as a hobby, and my old base stations and all that. And they used to do some really weird shit. They throw this heterodyne thing. These really brainy types with electronics. They could make this tiny little device and they could plant it in your neighborhood, and it could emit a really piercing sound, and it actually invaded a couple of frequencies on CB. It was 27 megahertz, okay, and it would make it, it would just be really irritating. Of course, it had a battery. It would only last as long as the battery, but they found ways of irritating people even back then. So, in other words, nothing has really changed, has it? Anyway, I'm not going to be hanging long. I just wanted to talk about a few things here I thought was funny and something that I watched, and I see that more and more stuff. Still talking about Vitali, man. Jesus Christ, he's going to expose the immigration system. Well, God bless him if he could do that. I guess I'm all for that, but it doesn't mean he's not a creep, and he'll definitely don't want to be back in the Philippines if he could. I don't think that would work out very well for him. No, I don't think so at all. But what's going on out there anyway this evening? As if anybody's going to talk at this hour anyway. But I'm just on here for a little shorty here. A little shorty. I'm a little shorty. Yeah. Short people have no reason to live. Now, if you believe that, there's some midgets out there that'll beat the shit out of people. You'd be surprised. They're fucking crazy, man. And they want to call them midgets anymore. We got to be politically correct. Little people, okay? And at best, dwarfs. I mean, you got to be careful what you say in this society. Am I right? Yeah. Don't look at somebody the wrong way. People are just too sensitive these days. Much too sensitive. Anyway, just to give you a little entertainment before I hit the sack here. See, I'm always thinking about my viewers. I'm such a polite guy. Yeah, I know I am. Anyway, think about everything I said today. I said quite a bit today, haven't I? Just think about what I said. Yeah. Boots to the ground, my friends. Boots to the ground. Boots to the ground. Boots to the ground. What do you think, Gil?
Boots to the ground.
Yeah, that's what you do. You gotta put boots to the ground, man. Boots to the ground. In other words, get her done. I don't care what it is, but done. Why spend your valuable oxygen and energy on anybody on here? Just get her done. Get the nuisance people out of the way. Concentrate on the real undesirables out there in La La Land, Tube Land, YouTube Land. Just concentrate. Concentrate.
Get your la la land.
Concentrate.
La la
Concentrate.
land or zombie land.
Zombie Land. Sound of my voice. Concentrate. The sound of my voice. You're getting smarter. You're dealing with things a whole lot better. Control yourself. Control yourself. Listen to the sound of my voice. And go on a goddamn attack of all the creeps. Oh, yeah, a lot of creepellas out there. But they're going down one by one. Look at them go. Watch them go. Look at them go. There you go. Another one down. Another one bites the dust. And another one bites. Another one bites. Another one bites the dust. Slowly but surely, inch by inch. Oh, that's how you do it. Anyway, we're not making a lot of sense out here. Maybe I am. Thought I'd give you all a little tuck-in call, and I know you need it terribly. I'm okay with that. I got somebody to tuck me in, but I know some of you out there just really don't. I'm that friendly voice in the dark. That friendly voice in the dark. That's out here to tuck you in. Make sure you get plenty of rest and sleep and have pleasant dreams. Listen to my voice. Listen to my voice. Listen to my voice. You shall sleep well tonight. You won't be thinking about YouTube. You won't be thinking about Frank. Your obsession will rest for one night and have a deep, wonderful sleep. Envision a beautiful valley with lovely flowers, birds singing, blue sky, white cumulus clouds. You hear the babbling of a nearby creek. Envision